Wouldn't be my podcast if we weren't having problems. Podcast. I haven't done a podcast in a minute. If I'm looking down, it's because I'm picking out which nails to stick on my fingers. And I will stop in a second. But I just noticed that I had like repeating ones, and I don't want the same one on each finger. Right? That'll fit. Not really. Fit? Yeah, probably. I think. All right, cool. We good. So it's National Cheeseburger Day. That sounds good, actually. Wasn't actually trying to lose weight. Go get me a cheeseburger. Boy. What don't I need? I have a lot open. But that's because I need it all. Where'd it go? Alright! Hello, Andrea. Hello, Rocky. Hello, Lucy. Hello, Adriel. Hello, Molly. Mr. Snowflake's thumbnail is spot on. Do I have thumbnail up here? Or do I have Mr. Snowflake up here? Hello, Anna. Hello, Alice. Hello, Pup. Hello, Theo. Hello, Wig. I already don't like Destiny, so it's not a long trip to not liking her. What does she do now? Hello, Abby. Hello, Shayna. Theo, if I didn't say hi, hello again. Hello, Ruby. Hello, Tea with the Unicorn. Smug. Claire. Kat. Bryn. BJ. Allie. Dimpled Skeptic. I love that name. Kelsey. Megan. Hey, that's everybody. Danielle. Yes. I realized I have a little too much Pusheen stuff. I don't really know if that's a thing that can actually happen, but I have a little too much Pusheen stuff. I was kind of wondering if there was some way I could get like a Pusheen background, and I was like, yeah, that's a bridge too far. But all right. Pardon me. My hair is still a bit wet. My hair. All right. Oh, thanks. Cause I think I'm taking a page out of Amber's eyebrow book today, so here we have that. Let's see. I want. Yeah. Yeah. Nope. Nope. Not that one. That one. Wait. Why does it do that? Where are you? Right there. It's right there. Why won't you show it? Uh-huh. Just show the damn video. What is... That won't work at all. What is happening? What is it with OBS? Like, this one window that I've been using for the YouTube window, I've used it for probably since I set the scene up. And today, it's decided it doesn't work. It's the right size. It's got the right thing on it. It'll show every other thing I click on. Will not show the actual video. What is this? Why? There we go. There we go. Wait, wait. We might have something. Nope, still don't have it. All right. I don't even know. I don't care. I literally don't care. No point in trying to figure it out when I can just do it again. Look, if Amber can clock in and do absolutely nothing for 3.5 hours, so can I. Right. Well, at least there you can see it now. Yep. Snuggle you all up in there. Ba-bum. There we go. What's the monster image in Mr. Snowflake's thumbnails? Oh, just his thumbnails he's been doing recently, putting himself in the videos, or in the... I can't drink a buzzball. Yeah, make sure you guys are on all messages or live chat so that you can actually see each other when you're talking to each other. Otherwise, makes for some really confusing conversations. Eyebrows are overrated. I know some people like shave off their eyebrows, and I mean, if you can pull that off, more power to you, but I cannot. I need eyebrows. You can't tell what goofy face I'm making if I don't have eyebrows. Also, I just look like flat on camera. Just in time. SSRI infant psychology. Why are they giving SSRIs to infants? What? Oh, that's funny. The cat mother. I actually have a pair of earrings that look like, I got them in Salem. They look like a tarot card and it says the cat mother on them. I thought I just brought that up, you know. It has everything to do. Yeah, we're gonna watch a little Nadia. Yeah, he's photoshopping himself. Mr. Snowflake's photoshopping himself into his thumbnails, and I think it's adorable. I like mine though. I like the comic book look. They are not Tommy's eyebrows now. These eyebrows have never been plucked. Can't you tell? You had your eyebrows microblade. Is that the one where they go in and they like really finely shave it? I've never had that done either. I did once upon a time when I was in high school, because I do shave my eyebrows, like I shape them with a razor. I did actually shave them off once. That was a whole thing. That was before it was cool to not have eyebrows. So, was not a trendsetter, let me put it that way. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a really cute pair of earrings that I bought at Salem. They had all kinds of neat ones. In reference to the postpartum bonding between mother and baby. Really? Interesting. Makes my eyes pop. Is there a Salem spot on the bingo card? Why am I not surprised? I won't talk about it that much. Prior to pregnancy. Oh, okay. Interesting. I know you were not late, Nikki. Hello, Hedgehog. Does shaving them make them grow in thicker or... No. Not... Well, I only did it once, so no. I don't know if you do it chronically. Shaving doesn't make anything else not grow back, so... I don't know why it would on your eyebrows. Maybe your eyelashes. That might be. You had the tattoo done once and she made them too pointy. Wow, that sounds awful. That sounds horrible. But they now grow in thicker. Oh, sorry, Rabid. See how the sausage is made today. Today I wanted to do something different though with you guys because if you're in the Discord, I am working on a thing. I'm working on a, I don't know if presentation's the thing, but I want to make a video about this video that went across Twitter. I think the original poster's taken it down, and we'll watch it in a second because it's part of Nadia's video, which is the other reason we're here. And basically she called out basically all of fat acceptance, telling them that, you know, if you have access to enough food that you can be that obese, it's because you have privilege. And fat acceptance TikTok lost their goddamn minds because, God forbid, somebody point out that they have privilege. How dare. Don't you know that they're poor and oppressed and live in food deserts and yada yada yada, and what about the children? And completely misrepresented everything she said, which is of course the point. You know, you gotta dehumanize your opponent in order to win an argument. In the war, you must make your enemy the worst. Do low tier members get access to the Discord? It's not a member thing. It's a nerfy thing, and I don't have a code for it right now because I think all the codes I've been given have expired at this point. But is Nerfy live? There's a high probability Nerfy's live, but why is that picture there? If I hit up comment sent, she might give me one. Anyway, she might pop in. I didn't like the pencil thin eyebrow thing, but that was like a throwback to the 40s? The old glamorous 40s where they were doing that. They were effectively shaving their eyebrows off and then drawing them back in with a pencil. I don't know why it was a thing. She's not going live. Yeah, the Discord, we just talk about random things, but I've got a page on the Discord and I was sharing a couple paragraphs on the stuff that I've been working on, and I don't know, I thought I might run it by you guys and see what you said. The 60s, was it the 60s? I feel like they were doing the eyebrow pencil back in the 40s too. The movie star look was a 40s thing. I don't know. I just, in my head, I have this image of, God damn it, she was really famous too. So there's an image of her and she's just, you know, she's got the real dark lip and the very thin, perfectly circular arch eyebrow. And it's obviously just drawn on. 20s? 20s. Okay, we're talking about the 20s. Oh yeah, trends are circular. It's all been done before. Concentrating on the small things. Hello. I've heard really good things about the Ordinary's eyebrow lash serum. I've heard very good things about them. It was probably a flapper thing. I mean, everything that was cool was a flapper thing, and then we completely misrepresent everything that the flappers did, and now they're all these, like, no one actually knows what a flapper is supposed to look like these days. Shame on us. Shame on us for our misrepresentation of our past. Here we go. All right, so the blocky Joan Crawford brows. Pamela Anderson? No. Pamela Anderson might have done pencil thin, but I'm not thinking of her. They did it. They did do the. Well, see, that's what, you know. It was all circular. It all comes back. Were they too high in the 60s? You know, the 60s had a kind of had a couple different fashion trends going on. Hello, Stevie. Hello. I didn't say hello, Brioche. I mean Skeletor. Betty Davis. That might be Betty Davis I'm thinking of. In the picture. No, let me look it up. Betty Davis. That might be who I'm thinking of. Yeah, that's who I'm thinking of. Betty Davis. She's got Betty Davis eyes. And Joan Crawford when she was young. Anyway. Yeah, that's exactly who I was thinking of. Anyway. Dude. You're 60s in fashion and you think Twiggy? Yeah, the original Twiggy, yes. We've had that discussion, actually. There was a Twiggy from the 90s as well. My brain is screaming Greta Garbo. Might have been Greta, too. I mean, it was kind of a thing. It's a black and white image that I'm thinking of, though. No, it's not Greta Garbo, believe it or not. But yes, those are the eyebrows I am talking about, yes. Pencil thin eyebrows. Those must have been a just absolute bitch to maintain. Because back then they were plucking the little bastards. Can you imagine? Must have been like an all-day project. Must have been so happy when they could finally like grow their eyebrows back. Who was the one that starred in The Shake? The Shake movie. Rudolph Valentino. Who was that? Who was his co-star? Rudolph Valentino and Agnes Ayres. Ah, Agnes Ayres. I wanted to have hair like hers for a while. Hey, Quirky, haven't seen you in a minute. Clara Bow. No, it was. I'm. As long as the wiki is not incorrect, it is Agnes Ayres. But her eyebrows were not. I mean, they were thin, but they're not like that thin. She was so pretty, though. Anyway. Oh yeah, Lucille Ball definitely had like the thin eyebrows. It was a thing. It was a thing. The commodification of obesity. We're not talking about that particular section of commodification, though. We're talking about fat acceptance and commodification, so... Which I suppose there is an argument there for, you know, your end of the part, what you used to do, but... Well, yeah, I know if you do enough damage to the eyebrows, and waxing's one way to do it, that you'll damage the follicle itself and they won't grow back. Yeah. It's funny, I learned to save the wrong species. Hey, Snoozy from Pittsburgh. I was supposed to be in Pittsburgh, actually, you guys. I was driving to Pittsburgh yesterday to go see my friend that I'm always talking about, and my car died while I was on the turnpike doing 70. As you do. In the middle of a construction zone, so it was a whole thing. But anyway, I got home, and I have taken the car in, and they have looked at the car, and there's something about a coolant pump to the battery that is somehow doesn't work anymore, and also the actual engine, because it's a hybrid, the actual engine is apparently misfiring. So good times. Good times. What is commodification? Okay, well, actually, no, Ruby, that's the thing. That's why I kind of wanted to do this with an audience at first, because I want to see where I'm going to lose people, is kind of where I'm at. I started breaking this stuff down, and because I was trained to write as an academic, it's what happens. So I posted a little paragraph about it, and I mentioned Marxism and Marx's theory of commodification, and common sense told me that I should maybe tell people what the hell I'm talking about, because not everybody's going to know what I'm talking about. So I want to see where I'm going to lose people. Who sent a friend request? I don't want friends. I'm not here to make friends. The hell? I'm scrolling through my notes. Scroll through my notes. All right, so I think what I want to do first, the squiggle eyebrow? I don't remember that, BJ. But I think I was out of it in 2017, so. Train me, academic wizard. Yeah, no. Now, first off, where's my smarty glasses? In my actual reading glasses. And those are filthy. How did I let them get that dirty? Anyway. Lost already. Well, here we go. Look. Let's play. I am using Nadia's video. I don't think we're going to watch the whole thing, but we're definitely going to watch pieces of it. Just because it's where a lot of this is coming from. Well, not just Nadia, but stuff. Oh, it was you? Cool. Cool. I'll get to it after we're done streaming. Hey man, I'm called Tidy Blue Anthropologist for a reason. Anyway, all right, let's watch this first so you guys can kind of understand where I'm coming from. In case you haven't seen the TikTok, which is entirely possible. Not everybody's on TikTok. So, all right, let's make sure you guys will be able to hear it. Audio? Should be able to hear it.
I have a hot take for you.
All right, here we go.
If you are someone who is able to access enough food to be obese or morbidly obese, you have privilege.
This is basically the most offensive thing she could say about a group of people who want to be identified by their victim status.
I know, that's probably a tough concept to understand, but you have privilege, especially over people that can't even afford food.
I'm gonna push back and say that it should not be a tough thing to understand that if you are able to afford food, you have more privilege than someone who cannot afford food.
Okay? If you have the ability to eat in excess of your normal caloric intake to the point where you're able to maintain an extremely high body weight, you have a lot of privilege to be able to do that compared to people that literally cannot eat.
People are basically going to completely ignore the starving people that she keeps referencing here. It's like they don't want you to worry about the hungry people until you've first worried about whether you're being fat phobic or not. People are starving.
I'm not saying this to be mean. I just think that it's important that we get a little perspective on where we're at and actually how put down we are by society, because I don't think a lot of people who are overweight, like myself, think about the fact that we have a lot of privilege to be able to even be overweight. That's not a bad thing. It just is. I'm not saying this to offend anyone. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of perspective.
I'm not saying this to be mean is something that shouldn't have to be said here. She's not being mean. If someone said, hey, people who live in trailers are more advantaged or privileged than people who are homeless, is that mean? I grew up poor. I lived in a trailer park. I didn't like living in a trailer park. But if someone approached me and said, hey, you're...
Okay, the clip here says, this person actually thinks they're showing how not privileged they are. And look, I know people don't like to be told that they're privileged, but look, she had what, collagen peptides over here? Multi-collagen peptides. Do you know how much that shit costs? Sun Lover Bites in cherry flavor. There's not a goddamn thing in here that's a normal type of food, and you're gonna tell me that you're not privileged? Also, not to be a dick, but those are really nice glasses you're wearing. You know, it's just that kind of shit. People don't realize how and what privilege is. Like, I'm putting on fake nails right now. I am not going to sit here and pretend like I'm not privileged.
Than people who are homeless. Is that mean? I grew up poor.
She's got a shit ton of food in here. There's so much food in here that it's like falling off the goddamn shelves. So what do they think they're trying to prove here? What isn't privileged about this? And this is kind of part of what I want to talk about, because she goes on to show several people's responses to the hot take. And the problem is, I don't think a single one of them actually make a fucking argument. Like, they are incapable of forming a coherent argument. And it really bothers me, because every single one of them is all smug and shit, and they're like, oh my God. And it's just like, you didn't say a damn thing. I know you think you did something there, but you really did. And this is how people talk to each other on TikTok. I don't understand how a conversation occurs. They're not saying anything. Anyway. Well, and then there's that, Claire Louise. You said, as a bodybuilder, it seems like an epic privilege to be able to choose to starve myself. Yeah, and that, you'll hear the argument with vegans every now and then, and I'm not slamming vegans, I'm just making the argument that it's very much a privilege to be able to be vegan, to live in a society where you could be vegan and not be, undernourished or starving, that kind of a thing. And people don't like to hear that. Yeah, I know, I'm working, shut. So, people don't like to be told they're privileged, because privilege is such a bad word. It's been turned into such a negative term. And it's not. It's a very neutral term. Probably everybody has a privilege, has some sort of privilege over other people, right? Some of us are much more obvious of what our privileges are over other people. But even when you're in a minority group, you still have a privilege over somebody else, right? And I know people don't like to hear that, but that's the reality of privilege. Being condescending without saying anything is very bad, except it is. Yeah, the privilege takes away from their oppression. It does. Yeah, I mean, Benji, that's extreme, but it's a point. I mean, I'm not trying to belittle you or anything, but it's kind of the point. Like, if I don't have the money, then I just don't eat for a day or two until I'm paid. That sucks. I don't have to worry about that. I'm fully aware of it. It is what it is. I still feel privileged. I at least have a roof over my head and running water and electricity. Kind of my point. Like, even in the fact that I know that I am more privileged than you, because I don't have to worry about any of that, you view yourself as being more privileged than somebody who doesn't even have a home and a roof and running water and electricity, right? Personally, I don't think anybody should ever have to worry about their fucking basic needs, but, we live in America, so here we are. Yeah, Emily, it's okay to be privileged. It's gross not to acknowledge it. Yeah. And sometimes you don't know when you are privileged. You're not extreme, Benji. It's fine. Don't take that the wrong way. I'm glad that you decided to share with us, honestly, because that's a really good example. Right, Andrea, even though you've worked your butt off for it, and you have, probably, but you are privileged because you are a homeowner. And there may or may not have been, I don't know you personally, but there may or may not have been certain aspects of society that worked in your favor because you are the certain person that you are, right? I'm going to have an easier time going through life in general than an African-American woman or an Asian woman or a Hispanic woman. I'm going to have a better time at life than they are because I'm white. I'm white passing. People look at me and they see not only white, pasty ass white, okay? Look. But my point is, I don't have a problem with that. But my partner, who is also white, is going to have, and does, have a much easier time in life than I do because he's male and white. it's those kind of, it's not his fault. We can't help these things, but society favors those certain traits over others. That's not to say if you are African American, Hispanic, Asian, that you don't also have certain privileges over other racial groups, kind of the same way that I have privileges over others, right? It's like it's more like a circle and less like a triangle, but kind of like a doodaddy like this, because there's nobody's at the bottom of the privilege triangle. There's like no one's at the bottom is kind of the thing. We're all just kind of like in a suspended fluid that kind of moves up and down throughout history, because at some points my family's Irish German. When they first came over on the boat, they're literally listed in the census as black. So when my family first got to this country, we were lower than shit, right? So like now I don't have that problem. My generation doesn't have that problem. My great grandparents' generation did. It's just kind of the thing. We're going to talk about food deserts, Brosh. Don't worry. Yeah, and then we're not even going to talk about we can talk about homeless people. Like, do not sit here and tell me that, like, you're on the same privilege level as a homeless person, fat acceptance lady. So. There, uncomfortable ginger. I'm a vegetarian and that's a privilege. Yeah, exactly. This woman is not that with her collagen peptide. Yeah, we're not even talking about the rest of the shit in here. The grocery desert and the high calorie, cheap garbage food argument is legit. It is, but it's not the way they're using it here. Let me finish this little, because she actually puts like chapter marks in hers because she's like decent. She's a nice person.
I lived in a trailer park. I didn't like living in a trailer park. But if someone approached me and said, hey, you're more privileged than being homeless, there would be no argument from me. But people got really mad about this.
If you are someone who is able to access enough food to be obese or morbidly obese,
I hate this woman, privilege. By the way.
I know.
Oh,
this girl, I hate to be mean. She reminds me of a Cabbage Patch doll that someone took a crayon and a pair of scissors to, and it just bothers me a lot. So, I hate to be like that, but here we are. It's very hard to take her seriously. Thank you, YouTube. Sorry, Renata. Chips and soda should be your luxury good, Ollie. I'm sorry. They're not good for you, and they're not necessary for life. You like this creator? This one here? I don't know who she is, honestly. I just see her in clips like this. And she's usually incredibly obnoxious, and it bothers me. Yeah, a lot of people in the comment section were talking about how these people with their multiple tattoos, which are not cheap, I don't know, I don't have one, but I know they're not cheap. They're sitting here trying to compare themselves to people who can't even afford to buy food. It's like, but where's the lie? YouTube gods are DICKs.
Oh my god, hot take!
I actually thought that girl was making fun of the way people were responding to this, but no, that was just her real response. That original video got so much backlash.
So close, babe. Processed food is cheaper. Time is money. Most folks working all day don't have the luxury of gym time, of food prep time. You don't have to gym time and you don't have to food prep in order to not eat cheap processed foods. It actually probably saves you money, and it's probably like the argument is that, oh, you can go to McDonald's and you can get a meal at McDonald's for less than you can spend at the grocery store. And it's like, no, you can't. McDonald's meals run between $10 to $15 a day now for one meal. Like, you will never convince me that that's cheaper than going to the store and buying groceries, because I buy groceries and I know what they cost. This might have been true 200 to 300 years ago, but nowadays the most cheapest and most accessible food is hyper-processed and low nutrient value. Hope that helps. It's not. Thinking about how you have to pay $2 for Pop-Tarts versus $6 for apples. Apples are like less than 40 cents a pound, which means you can probably get an apple for less than $1. Okay? And it's better for you. Kind of. You're better off eating a pear, but that's another story. This is my thing. Yeah. Even avocados are not that expensive, you guys. I haven't been on TikTok in 6 months, so you don't know what she's been up to. Oh, I didn't think you were endorsing it. Don't worry. Yeah, Allie, salad kits are like $3. You can buy a kit to make a pot roast at the grocery store. A pot roast. It comes with the fucking roast, plus all of the veggies, and a seasoning packet. All you have to do is put the bastard in whatever you're going to cook it in, turn the fire on, and cook it. And that thing should feed a family of 4, or one person for at least 4 meals. Maybe more than that, depending on how big the roast is. You can get a whole cooked roasted chicken for like $10? It used to be $6. I think it's $10 now at the grocery store. And again, you could feed a family of 4 off of that once. Or my partner and I make that thing stretch for at least 3 different meals, right? One of which usually ends up being like chicken and dumplings or some kind of like chicken and sauce on rice. So that stretches for another 2 meals. You get leftovers from that one. Anyway, can I talk more about food accessibility? I've been taught my whole life that processed foods are so accessible and healthy foods will never be available. No, it's not true. It's simply not true. Now, if you're talking about processed organic bullshit food, then yeah, that one probably is more expensive and outside of your reach, but you don't need it. Neither do I. No one needs that kind of food. It's just garbage frankenfood, right? Protein chips and that kind of shit. It's just frankenfood. You don't need it. Just have a boiled egg. Do you know how much eggs are? Like, do you know what you can do with an egg? You can get 3 pounds of hamburger at Aldi for like, I think it's only like $2. It's really cheap. You cut that thing up into either half or whole pounds. You've got meals for like a month if you plan right. I mean, yeah, it does take a little bit of time to sit and plan, but at the same time, what are your options? Would you rather be obese or would you rather be healthy? Yeah, I learned to save the wrong species. You can make 3 full meals from a family of 4 from 1 whole chicken. Avocados aren't bad. Yeah, when I make a meal like chili, usually everything's cost $20 to $30. But you got expensive chili. And I eat for like a week. Yeah, but still, even then, like you've made a week's worth of food for what these people spend on one meal. There's nothing wrong with avocados and toast. Yeah, Squid Rat, I've been living on $50 of groceries a week and I've been eating very clean. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Smug, the eggs, I guess maybe weren't the best example, but I still shop at Aldi, so like my eggs are still under $2. So you got 6 apples for a pound. They're complaining about the effort. They're complaining about the effort and the education that goes into being able to cook. And I understand that this generation, because this is mostly young millennial, what came after millennial? Young millennial and Z here, usually. And I will say that their generation is kind of screwed because they never learned to cook. They don't know how to do a lot of basic things for themselves. They don't know how to cook. They don't know how to sew. They don't apparently know how to clean. It's just, they don't have a lot of basic life skills and it shows. And so I think, honestly, they're scared of cooking because when they think of cooking, they obviously have this idea in their head that is not what cooking really looks like. You even cook for your dogs. I've heard people do that. Zoomers. Alpha's still a little too young. Alpha's still in their high school years, I think. The eldest of them are in their high school years. Well, and then there's that, Squid Rat. People act like they don't have the internet. TikTok's known for being like one of the most referenced places for recipes. And most of the recipes on TikTok you can make in less than 20 minutes. So really, even on your favorite app, you could still learn how to do most of the shit you're looking at. Cleaning. Nobody thinks cleaning. Okay, very few people think cleaning is fun. There are a handful of people that are like, I love cleaning. And then, you know what? Those are the people you hire to be your maid. Because they love it, and you can pay them to do it. Yeah, the alphas are the skibbity toilet kids. Skibbity toilet, I love that shit. Anyway. Gen Alpha just can't read at an advanced level. That's it. They can read. Yeah, exactly. Gen X, you cook or you starve. We were called latchkey kids for a reason. The last feral generation. Alright, now some of the hot takes in here. All right, so you saw the original video. I've already started my tangent. Where are my notes? Notes. There we go. So the thing is the original poster, the OP, she's not wrong. Obesity is a privilege, especially here in the United States, probably Canada. I'm going to speak to the countries I'm aware of. I know that it's different in certain countries. There is literally one country I can think of where obesity is prevalent and the population is considered impoverished, and they have like one of the highest numbers of diabetes per capita. And the reason for that is because the United States went in, destroyed their agriculture, and now the only food they have access to is the processed garbage that we send to them as food. So they don't have access to fresh foods. They don't have access to clean food. They only have access to packaged bullshit food. And that situation really only furthers the argument that processed garbage food is bad for you. So, everywhere else, is that Nauru? Yeah, I think so. Everywhere else, you usually have the option to not buy garbage. And a lot of people are under this belief that processed foods, super processed foods, are better for you, or cheaper for you than non-processed foods, right? Or minimally processed foods. Everything, cutting a potato up is processing it, right? So processing is a lot of things. It's not Mexico, Jesse. Yes, but their Coca-Cola is delicious, Jesse. I don't even like Coke. You love your nephew, but he speaks of me. They grow out of that, though. Yes, we spread democracy, Sweary Fairy. That's what we did. Democracy. So fat acceptance is privilege. So we've talked about it being an economic privilege. The thing is that most of the women, and they are mostly women, who respond to this are clearly, I'm gonna go out and say this, they clearly appear to be middle class, if not at best upper lower class. So again, they have access, they have funds, they're not limited in their ability to buy food. So I don't know what the hell they're talking about when they sit on here and they're trying to be like, what about food deserts? Bitch, what about food deserts? We're not talking about you. The food deserts have nothing to do with you. And the other thing that Nadia points out here in this video is that the actual definition of a food desert is very limited. It's not limited. It's very open in that it's like, if you don't have a grocery store within a walking mile of your house, then you're considered to be in a food desert. And I think that's very narrow because the anthropological definition of a food desert is different. So in her argument here with the food desert being only a mile radius around your residence, you don't have access to food. That could mean 1.5 miles away, there is a grocery store. And by that definition, I technically live in a food desert because the nearest grocery store is just over 1 mile from my house. I measured it. But I would not in any way, shape, or form try to tell you that I live in a food desert, because I don't. I absolutely do not. You're fine, K-Buns. You feel seen? What happened? Yeah, I can't keep up with you guys real fast, but what'd Una say? Yeah, Una, the Republic of Nauru is the country that is so obese. Yeah. It's the story of Nauru is tragic. If you ever want to make yourself feel bad, go look it up. So, oh my god, I'm sorry, you guys. It takes over a mile to get out of your neighborhood in any one direction. I mean, most people can walk a mile. I feel a lot of the impoverished people eating more processed food things comes from time equal money. If you haven't worked 80 hours in a week to provide for your family, you might not have the time to cook. True, but you also don't need to buy ultra processed foods in order to feed your family. You don't need to buy McDonald's and Taco Bell and Hardee's and whatever else is around you. You can still provide food at home that isn't ultra processed, that isn't going to cause diabetes and obesity. It's really a choice. And yes, I realize I have the privilege of not working 80 hours a day. I truly understand that. Where was I at? Oh, yeah. The other thing that they're doing here, we'll see it when the responses start rolling in and they're just nonsense. They're ignoring one of the things that she says in the original poster. I'm not really sure if like it was necessary for her to bring it up, but the whole concept of you're privileged over people who don't have access to food at all. I don't really know if she needed to go that far, but I think she was trying to make her point more poignant. And that point is just completely missed. They never address it. They never go back to it. The people responding to her, they never even acknowledge that she even mentions it. And so honestly, they all start talking about, food deserts and impoverished food deserts and people who work long hours and that kind of stuff. But they're bringing it up. They're not addressing it, right? They're just kind of throwing it out there as a talking point, but never talking about it, right? So it's not a true rebuttal. And it's also their way of kind of ignoring the concept of like poverty and non-access to food without actually like saying that they're going to just, I don't give a shit. They're like, no, look at this over here, while I ignore the actual thing that you said over here. We're not actually going to address global poverty and food deserts, but look at global poverty and food deserts. I mentioned it. Didn't you not see me mention it? And it's just smoke and mirrors. I took a generic women's studies class in college, Allie. No, I see what you're saying though. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, people out in the country, like my grandparents' house. Oh shit! When we used to go visit the farm, I think the nearest grocery store was like 3 hours away. It was like a thing. You went into town for the day because it was that long of a trip, right? And you bought everything you needed. They have to deflect in order to dupe their audience. Yeah, they do. And I don't even know that they're like really, honestly, I feel like they're kind of bamboozled by their own arguments, because they don't seem to realize that they're not arguing. They're just saying words in sequence. But Adderall, you can be both unfortunate situation and still be privileged. Because people don't, again, we talked about this at the top of the meeting. It's just like, people don't want to have the word privileged attached to them because they think it's a bad word, when really it's just an observation. There's no moral judgment attached to the word privilege. It's just pointing out you have an upper hand where someone else doesn't. For whatever reason, you do. Did I lose my mic? There we go. Okay, we're good. I touched it and it gets fussy. But, all right, so Yeah, and then there's some people who just have their groceries delivered. I can't even do that. That's just too much. Chicken, it's a 2-hour round trip. Yeah, I mean, no, food deserts are real, Natalie. I'm not saying they're not. Yeah, I did a job one time in a area where their grocery store was a Dollar General, and I was like, Jesus. And then I drove an hour and a half to get to the nearest Walmart, and that's where we bought our groceries while we were there for that project, because you had to literally go to the next town over to get an actual grocery store. So, all right. The other thing that they're going to do here, we'll watch a little bit more of this in a second, but the other thing that they're going to do is they're going to start shifting the narrative to victimhood, but they'll be shifting the narrative to victimhood by placing themselves as the victims. So it's a weaponization of victimhood that they are using in order to maintain their position, their moral superiority in the argument, right? I can't be privileged, I'm a victim. You can be privileged and you can also be a victim. We'll argue if you're a victim or not, but you can be both of those things, right? And then my other major argument, and I think this is what I posted, is that I truly believe fat acceptance is inherently racist. I've made a video about this before. And the reason why I believe that is because overall, fat acceptance often centers what they believe is a Eurocentric white beauty standard, and they compare everything else to this idealized, typically white woman that they have in their head. And so everything that they say about any other culture group is usually comparing them to this idealized person who doesn't necessarily exist. But in the same aspect, by saying that thinness and beauty are inherently white traits, which is what they're doing, they just don't realize it, they are saying that everyone else is inherently fat or whatever. They are inherently not white. And since being white is thin and beautiful, what does that say about everyone else who's not white? You see what I'm saying here? And they just broadly paint all these other cultures with this big brush, and then they participate in what we call white saviorism, where they say, but I'm going to use my position as a wealthy middle class white woman to champion for all of these downtrodden others who didn't ask me to do this, but I'm going to do it for them. And that's white saviorism. Nobody asked you for this. Please stop. So, I am way behind, sorry. Well, you don't need to go rub your privilege in people's faces, but that is boastful, but acknowledging it's completely different. Fat acceptance is one of the most narcissistic communities ever. They're filled with main character syndrome. Oh yeah, they definitely have the crabs in the bucket mentality. See, this is the thing, like, I'm just using Plague Doctor here. The whole thing, like, main character syndrome, like, that's a societal term. And I have a lot of, like, anthropological terms that I'm going to be whipping out here. And I just want to make sure that I'm not, like, losing people too much. And if I do, please let me know, because that's the point here. You hate that it gets compared to racism. Sorry, what gets compared to racism? Sorry, Faithful. Oh, that privilege is compared to racism? They should speak for themselves. They're not going to speak for themselves alone, Brioche. Part of the argument tactic that they're using is making themselves part of a larger group by assimilating aspects of that group, like marginalized groups. They're constantly comparing, like, if you don't like fat people, you're a racist. Why? Because if you don't like fat people, you don't like black people. I didn't say I didn't like black people. I said I don't want to be fat. Those are two completely different statements. Well, yeah, but black people are fat. Therefore, if you don't like fat people, you don't like black people. I didn't say that. You said that. That statement came out of your mouth. No, it's fine. I'm just trying to clarify people's like stuff so that I'm trying to figure out where there might be issues here. So it's fine. Yeah, Brioche. For all their cries of oppression, they do nothing to help the oppressed or address the root causes. Exactly. We'll get to that when we get to food deserts here again. You'd rather anthropology? Well, sometimes anthropology terms. I don't want people to like take a term and run with it, because I don't want you guys to like A, be using it incorrectly and get called out for it, and B, I don't want you guys to use it incorrectly. Have I been watching Caleb Hammer? I don't know who that is. And I know that was directed at somebody else, sorry. Oh, you guys catching K-Buns up? Okay, sorry. Who's Caleb Hammer? Is he worth watching? Oh, J-Bay. Yeah, okay, so well, we'll talk about J-Bay. Maybe, we might not get to J-Bay here. Alright, anyway, okay, so by talking about fat acceptance being inherently racist, we talk about that they ignore cultural contexts, where various communities of color around the US especially, if not the entire world, have different standards of beauty and different ideals within their group, right? And by reducing fat acceptance reducing the argument of fat phobia to all things non-white are inherently fat, it's ignoring that in some cultures that's fine. We're not talking obesity, we're talking about a little bit of padding, a little extra padding, but they also ignore the fact that in other cultures, specifically like Asian cultures, obesity starts for them at a much lower rate, at a much lower weight, right? And it's not that acceptable within their community to be that overweight. Like when you get to the obesity, when you get to 300 to 400 pounds, that's like A, kind of unheard of, and B, it is kind of a moral statement in certain groups, because we get to the concept of like gluttony and that kind of thing, and whether or not that's actually happening, it's how you're viewed, and that's how the society that you're in is going to judge you, right? So there's that's kind of stuff too. Like they completely are dismissive of people's cultural experiences as well. That thinking is why people don't realize there are people of color who have restricted EDs. Yeah, exactly. I mean, anybody can have an ED. It doesn't care what color you are. Yes, the body positivity movement originally started for burn victims and people with physical disabilities. Yes, that is correct. Jordan Underwood and Fat Sapphic Bro, yeah, they try to equate things. That's the fat acceptance movement having to take on aspects from other groups because they don't have an argument. They're not an oppressed people. There's nothing inherently unchangeable about being obese or being fat. So it's not the same as being a person of color or queer or anything like that. Those are things you cannot change about yourself, versus it might be difficult, but you can lose weight, right? Well, yeah, Snoozy, I mean, that is an issue. And see, that's the thing that, what Snoozy said, what did I do? There we go. Like Snoozy says, there are moral judgments that are, I'm sorry guys, I can't stop clicking on shit. There are moral judgments that are put on people who are of large size, and that's because the society that we have, and puritanical whatever. So, I mean, yeah, that's the stuff that you would think fat acceptance would be going after, but it's not. It's not the stuff fat acceptance tries to center and tries to address, right? Big problem that they used to force feed the women. I don't know what that is, Faithful. Why would you do that? Fat Sapphic Bro can step into the ring with me if they would like to. I don't like them to begin with, and their weird elitism is not something I enjoy. Makes them look very ignorant, actually. Privilege blindness, we've been talking about that, about fat acceptance overlooks how people of color in low income communities actually face health challenges and food challenges. They're ignoring that because they're using that as leverage for themselves and not actually arguing for the people that they claim they're actually arguing for. There's also the concept of, like, by largely centering the experiences of white middle-class women, the movement excludes women of color who experience body image, health, and privilege differently. I.e., in some cultures, larger bodies are seen as a sign of fertility or wealth, or vice versa, you know, the opposite of that. The movement's failure to account for these cultural differences is a form of erasure, for further entrenching the white perspective as the dominant framework of fat acceptance. It's very wordy, but I still feel like that's a good argument. But feel free to, yes, Plague Doctor, go Birds. Go Birds! I don't know if we won last night or not, but wait, I don't know if we won Monday night or not, because I'm a terrible fan. But the country in Africa, I found out about it. I'm living in Egypt. I don't know about that one. I'd have to look that one up, Faithful. I will have to look that one up. It might be like the Amazon thing. There were not really a tribe of women that cut off their left breast so that they could be better archers. But people believed that for a long time. Drives me bonkers when FW activists refer to themselves as curvy or plus size. Oh, yeah, there. I agree, Catnip. I hate when people say fat acceptance ruined body positivity. I feel the essence of body positivity is everybody is valued, and I don't think it being a changeable aspect is that integral. Yeah, I think when people say fat acceptance ruined body positivity, it's that fat acceptance took over body positivity to the point where they will tell you that body positivity isn't about feeling good about your body or feeling value in your body. It's about fat people. So they not only have they taken over BOPO, but they've redefined what BOPO is to the point where most people are not actually aware of why BOPO even existed in the first place. Usually in most historical contexts, Winter Sea, being large was a sign of privilege. And in some parts of history, being larger was considered attractive because it meant you were wealthy. But we're also not talking about anybody over 300 pounds. Like, until recently, being larger than that wasn't really possible. And I think if you took somebody like any of the girls from Girl World back in history, even to the Victorian era, people would freak out. They'd never have seen anybody, a living human, they would have never seen somebody that large, right? I've not heard of fattening rooms. Yes, the mythical fat disabled black femme founders of BOPO, who no one can find out what the fuck they're talking about because these people apparently did not exist. But anyway. Well, I mean, even in the Victorian era, Elizabeth Cady Stanton was morbidly obese, and I think she only weighed in at like I don't think she weighed more than 300 pounds. If she did, it was just over 300 pounds. I could double check that, but I'm almost positive she wasn't any larger than that. Eventually going to get all of my nails on. Well, we're going to get to that, Allie. We're going to get to feminism. Yes, Bryn. The fat lady in the side shows, the freak shows. Boy, there's like a whole lot of really fun and interesting and informative studies that have been done on like freak shows of the past, and just like the level of, you wouldn't expect this, but just the level of freedom that being in a freak show gave to these people who were part of it, because in a normal societal situation, they would have either been ignored or forgotten, and there would be no way for them to actually make their own income in order to support themselves. I know this sounds so weird and it's like so counter what you would think, but anyway. You Googled Maranata feeding camps, definitely info. Okay, I'll check it out. There's no way to hide gluttony like there is greed and sloth. Yeah, I mean, you could, and not be healthy that way either. Henry VIII was 400 pounds. Well, okay, but he was a king. Come on. The average person being 400 pounds? There was that one girl. But she literally had a genetic disorder. So she is like that mythical 0.0001% of the population where she literally had no control over her weight. And that's it. So anyway. Okay, white saviorism and fat acceptance. White saviorism manifests as the attempt to defend marginalized group without fully understanding or engaging with the realities. So that's kind of what I was saying earlier, just really wordy. But part of that assumes a universal experience, and it's the assumption that all overweight individuals are experiencing the same stigma or lack of privilege. But by doing that, you're ignoring how race and class intersect with body image. White individuals who are obese or overweight may still experience significant privilege in comparison to people of color, particularly how they are treated in society and the healthcare system. Like, they're not wrong when they say the healthcare system has issues, because it does. But it's not like a personal thing. Like, the health system has issues. It's not the health system is after you. It just has problems. Nothing's perfect, unfortunately. We talked about that. We'll come back to manipulation because that's kind of like the final thrust. But controlling the narrative by using white saviorism. So it's I'm trying to get through my notes here. It tries to control the narrative by not only by being like, hold up, I will save you. It's not just that, but it's also taking the experiences and the issues that other groups have and twisting them in a way that they can apply it to themselves. And again, this goes back to weaponizing victimhood, in that they are turning themselves into victims, so thinking by doing that they're impervious to criticism. And it's like, you can still be a victim and you can still be privileged, right? So you can be a victim and a lot of other things. Also, we can discuss how much of a victim you actually are, but that's another story. That's another argument. That's another video. I need to bring this up a little bit more. It's also just straight up ignoring food privilege. Like, there is food privilege in the United States. I don't know if anybody here has ever been on like food stamps or had to take public assistance or anything like that, but when you are on those programs and you go to the grocery store and you buy steak, for example, buy a steak on food stamps. I don't know if this is true anymore because I'm not on it anymore, but when we would do that, people would look at us like, what the fuck are you doing buying steak with your food stamps? And it's like, why wouldn't I? You know, it's good for you. Like, what am I supposed to buy? And they expect you to buy the boxed food and the processed food and the Pop-Tarts and the cereal and all the bullshit food. They expect you to buy that because it's cheap. They don't expect you to buy salad, fresh fruits, milk, dairy, non-processed dairies, you know, cheeses and stuff like that, and meat. They don't expect you to buy good food. They expect you to buy garbage food. And it's kind of in that aspect of this kind of food is what those people eat. Like that, you are of a certain class and therefore you are allowed this kind of food, versus people who are employed and pay for their food themselves, they're allowed to have fresh foods and steak and eggs and dairy and that kind of stuff, right? That doesn't mean it's that's losing my words. It's not true. It's a societal perception, right? And it's not every society thinks that way. Gotta buy those dented cans. Right, Allie. Oh. I hope you go back to the doctor, Adderall. I have to fight with my doctors sometimes to get things, but it's not because they're assholes. They don't know. They don't know. And you just have to be annoying about it. Yeah, Natalie. You were living in poverty and had to use the food bank. It was embarrassing, and the food they had there was always expired and highly processed. Yeah. When we donate to the food banks, and I do this because I had to use them too. I don't put things in there that I wouldn't eat myself because there's no reason to. It's not a garbage dump. It's not where you send your food that you wouldn't eat. Why would you send food that you wouldn't eat to a food bank? It's insulting. You know, if you something you won't eat, don't send it. Yeah, when the kids and I were on SNAP, we ate only healthy and had money left over. Yeah. And that's what SNAP's supposed to do, right? In the ideal world, that is how SNAP is supposed to work. Sweary fairy. That's funny. Didn't that fact that most maybe deplorable goat, and that might be another perception thing where people on food stamps think that they shouldn't buy clean food, or they're under that perception, like a lot of these fat acceptance girls will try to push, is that clean food is more expensive than processed food, and it's like, it's not, but you keep pushing that narrative that it is, and people believe it because, I don't know, for a while there it probably was cheaper to buy fast food, but it's not anymore. Okay, hang on. Come off my nail, thank you. Jesus Christ. Last nail. Then I don't have to keep looking down here. All right. Because when it's cold in the UK, you need chocolate. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with donating treats either. Hey, Zoe. I may have Lizzie Bits, but I don't remember the name. Let me look it up real fast. I should be doing that anyway, but nope, not that one. This one. Showman and Soldier? Or... known noted for his unusually large appetite. guy sounds a little over the top. Okay. So almost everything known about him, it comes from the account of one guy who was basing that information provided by another guy, neither of which were this terrain guy. So interesting story, but all right, commodification of obesity. So this is where we start talking about Karl Marx. Karl Marx has this theory of commodification, and his theory of commodification is that basically anything can be sold. You can find a way that people will find a way to sell anything. And it wasn't meant to be quite the pessimistic statement that it has become, but in that theory, it becomes clear that the fat acceptance movement has in many cases transformed from a social justice movement into a marketable product. Kind of like what they did with feminism. Follow me. So you've got people like Tess Holliday, our own Anna O'Brien, this Whitney Way Thor woman who got brought up. And I know you guys have asked me about her before, but they're very large women who are seen as kind of icons. We could throw Alexandra Rodriguez in there as well, but they're women who are using, and not Amber, not in this aspect, but they are women who are using their obesity as a way to gain sponsorship and to basically monetize their weight. And also by doing that, they're creating obesity to be a commercial product so that companies will make things that are focused on obese people, right? Larger size clothing is always the big bitch, right? Oh my God, we're discriminated against because they don't have a triple XL 37D. Okay, that's not really how that works, but whatever. But because you have enough people who are being, sorry about the shaking, you have enough people being super vocal about it in a very visibly social app, whatever. The companies react in a way where they're like, oh shit, I guess we need to make a triple XL 37D. And then they'll make a couple of them here and there just to kind of like appease, but also in the hope that they'll sell. But mostly it's just to appease. But in the same way, you're causing companies to put money into these large sizes. Another good example is like Dove did a, I don't know if they're still doing it, but they did a campaign where it was like, their thing's always been love you the skin you're in, but it was something to do with like, you know, whatever at any size basically. And they were specifically working with obese people to create an ad campaign aimed at women of size, right? Because Dove aims at women. These things are also, this is when we'll start getting into feminism here in a minute, but these things are almost always aimed at women. There are not a lot of men involved in fat acceptance, and so a lot of this commodification and a lot of this advertising and a lot of this like this push to consume, this goes out onto the women for the most part. Even the men who are involved in fat acceptance, they're not on the same level, right? They don't have the same influence. They don't have the same voice in the community. And so we come to, excuse me, where did it go? Come back. Where are my notes? We come to Angela McRobbie's critique of post-feminism culture, where, how to explain this? The body is continually marketed to women, but now under the banner of acceptance rather than transformation. The concept of choice and freedom is now sold to women as something you can buy, as opposed to with feminism you have to fight for it, right? You're trying to gain that from society. Now it's, oh, you already have it, you just have to buy it. You buy this product, you'll have freedom and choice. Don't worry about that. It's the same thing here is happening. It's like, it's post-feminism. where you don't have to be healthy or work for health or try to fit into society. You can just buy that. You can just buy your position in society. You get the filler, you have the fake nails, you get your hair done, you wear the right makeup, you wear pretty clothes. Now you're part of society. And I think that might be why, I'm just having this thought now, that might be why so many of the fat acceptance people on TikTok whine about not being able to find fashion that fits them, is because they view that as not being excluded from society because they can't have the cute clothes, even though there's plenty of brands that make cute clothes for them. So that might be where that because I think it's a very stupid argument. It's a very shallow, very stupid argument. But I think that's where it's coming from, is this idea that like by not having these things, they're somehow being pushed out of participation in society, when the reality of it is it has nothing to do with your participation in society. It's just it's something that you have bought into, right? So, I mean, ask anybody who dresses alternatively how they feel about fitting into society, and I think you'll have your answer there. Excuse me while I file my nails and completely ignore everything. Sorry. You know, it's times like these where I'm like, maybe I do have ADHD. Hey, Gunneret! Middle class women have a ton of spending power and companies know that. Yes. And yes, these are manipulation tactics. What are we doing? Fat acceptance, oppression, blackmail to get companies to bend at the knee. Yes. Yes, remember when Smokey was... A lot of the food companies, this is not even something I'm touching on here, is a lot of the food companies are literally using the same tactics that the smoking companies were using back when they very first started getting attacked for causing lung cancer. The food companies and the sugar companies are 100% using the exact same playbook, and it's working because it worked with smoking. So it's working with the food companies as well. So, we've all watched the Barbie movie. We are all expert. I wish it was that easy. Feminism's complicated, y'all. You have an autoimmune disease like diabetes, it won't last long. I didn't realize, I honestly, since I've never had it, did not realize fillers went away. I mean, it makes sense. Your body apparently absorbs it, but I was like, oh, I didn't know that went away. I thought it was just like one and done. This reminds me a lot of Virginia Soul-Smith, who got a feature written about her in New York Times earlier this year. She writes a newsletter about how empowering being fat is. Yeah, and I know I've watched the Cynical Dude. I think he's got a video out about how basically being fat is rebelling against society. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really agree with that, but I suppose you could see it that way. But why would you rebel that way? Why would you do that to yourself? But... And I think that, honestly, I think it all just boils down to an excuse. It's easier to argue that you have a right to be and stay fat, which you do, than it is to actually try to take responsibility of yourself and the reasons why you eat and are fat. So. Also, plus size fashion is not that bad. Right. I mean, there's a lot of plus sized fashion out there. I remember when I was a big kid. And I was a big teen, and yeah, no. Today, I can find my size anywhere. I have no issues finding my size, right? And I'm roughly the same size as I was in high school. So, like in high school, I was like a size 13, and now I'm like a size, well, I'm not a size 14 anymore, but I was a size 14 for a long time. So, my size changed by half a size. I can still find I can find 12 in pretty much everything. I don't think there's anything I can't find my size in now. Unless it's something really cute at a very specialty boutique kind of shop that caters to very small people. And then I can't find it because they're not catering to me. They're not making clothes for me. It's fine. You can do that. She even said in the article, I think marriage is a form of a diet because she divorced her husband. I mean, there's that idea that you put on like the happy 10 or something like that in your 1st year of marriage, but No, the government won't get their act together to go after big food because big food has too much. Big food invests way too much. I mean, the chicken empire. All of the chicken in the United States comes from 5 companies. Period. Here's the thing about Shein, though, totally turtles. If people want to come after you for buying from Shein, they need to not shop at Walmart, not shop at Target, not shop on Amazon, and not use any other form of fast fashion. When you can tell me that you do all of those things and you don't shop at any kind of discount anything, then you can come after me for shopping at Shein. I rebelled by being interested in paganism like normal people. Hello, other Bryn. We have 2 Bryns. We have Bryn 1 and Bryn 2. Yeah, I've never, yeah, I guess. And Rosie calls me out for this actually a lot. I've never been morbidly obese. So I don't know what that's like, but I am obese, so. That's probably true, Gunnarat. A lot of our food's banned outside of the US. So, weirdly not our rice, though. Apparently our rice is good stuff. I have connected the Bryns. Sorry, my phone's going off, and it's gonna keep going off. Over there. Okay, now you can't hear it. Wait, are we talking about Barbie? Barbie's not that bad. It's fine. If you want to go see the damn Barbie movie, go see the damn Barbie movie. Fine. People need to quit being so sensitive. It's US, Aaron. Thank you. It's the US, not the YS. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. What even counts as morbidly obese? I think when you're over class 2. I think class 2 and class 3 are considered morbid. I could be wrong though. So much discomfort comes from being obese. Yeah, I'm not saying being obese is nice. I mean, that's the thing. Like, why would you want to be obese? I get that you might have gotten there unintentionally, but when it's brought to your attention, I just don't understand why you wouldn't be like, holy shit, yeah, I want to quit. But apparently fast fashion at Ross only. Yeah, Ross totally doesn't use any of the same places that Shein uses. You're fine, Aaron. I'm just joking. Okay, class 2 is morbid, class 3 is super morbid. I don't know why, whenever I hear super morbid, I always think of Supermassive Black Hole, the song. It always works that way. Yeah, class 1 is just obese. Okay, so class 2 is anything 35 and up. That, Ratscal, that's a whole other conversation. There's so many things to go after fat acceptance for. Like, alright, I need to form an opinion. Yeah, I mean, what, Michelle McDaniel? Yeah, she did an excellent piece on the Barbie movie, completely off topic. Michelle did an excellent piece on the Barbie movie where she was like, this isn't my kind of movie, but it wasn't my kind of movie to begin with. She's like, it's fine. Go watch the movie. If you take a feminist message away from it, that's kind of on you. And, I mean, it is there in the movie, but it's not... I don't think it's that bad. Coming from somebody who used to, like, solely identify as, like, a militant feminist, that movie is not that bad. Alright. Getting back on topic. So, okay, so far, if everybody can remember through my ramblings what we've talked about, do you guys feel like I'm losing you with any of this? Or do you feel like do you feel like it's like at the right level for people, or do you think I'm talking down to you? Because I'm really not trying to. But like, how do you guys feel about the topics that I'm bringing up and the things that I'm talking about? Like, are you guys... is it easy to follow, I guess is my question. That's the reason why I wanted to do this with a live audience. Thrifting is fun, yes. I do enjoy thrifting. We agree, Gunarat. We really agree. Allie, I'm glad I brought up the Barbie movie. Ruby. Okay, cool. Yeah, well, I think when I eventually get around to making the video, I'm gonna have a outline that I will hopefully remember to look at. Yeah, I keep getting sidetracked by chat too, but that's okay. Okay, cool. Everybody seems to be... You're not dumb, Allie. Okay, you guys are with me. All right, cool. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you. Thank you for pointing out how our food is basically poison. I appreciate it. I'm kidding. Leave us alone, okay? There's a reason why we're more obese here in the US than over there. I am cooking. Am I eating and leaving no crumbs? That's the one that I don't get that one at all, but I'm gonna keep saying it because I like it. All right, the other thing I wanted to talk about was the normalizing of the health risks, because that goes into the commodification of obesity, in that by making the health risks of obesity normal, or that whole pushing it off, well, skinny people get XYZ too. That's true. But we're not talking about the skinny people again. We're talking about you. But by downplaying the health risks, it chooses to focus on empowerment and acceptance. And it creates health concerns, especially with like any of the medical journals that I've read about obesity and that kind of stuff. Like, they're panicking over this shit because obesity is not good, but you've got this growing movement where these women mostly are telling other women mostly that being obese is fine and that your health issues are not connected to obesity. The reality is obesity is a health issue. Being obese is not normal. That's why it's considered a disorder. That's why your doctor will record that on your sheet. If you go in at an average weight, they don't write down skinny mini, because that's not a thing. But they glorify unhealthy behaviors and they downplay the effects of obesity. Oh, I'm so sorry. And the other issue with doing both of these things, let's see, where did it go? It causes a disconnect within class privilege, which, again, going back to privilege, a lot of these women are outside of the classes that they claim that they are trying to protect and they're trying to champion for. And by advocating as someone of a higher class to someone as a lower class, no, don't worry about your health issues. That has nothing to do with your weight. There's nothing you can do about it anyway. That's the one I hate so much. There's nothing you can do about it. There is. Thank you. But they downplay it to the point where people actually start to believe it. And this is where we get into pseudoscience and the rejection of science, and fat acceptance doing both of those things, where fat acceptance not only downplays actual research and science that shows that the things that they're saying are not true, and that morbid obesity, even class 1 obesity, is bad for you, right? They downplay all of that to the point where people are actually like, oh, well, thin people, yada, 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 whatever. Well, yeah, but you're not the thin person, are you? It's like Anna and her lipedema. anyone can get lipedema. Well, no, not really. I mean, yeah, but not really. Statistically, your chances of getting it go up significantly the bigger you are. Ergo. But this also goes back to, I want to say her name again because I think it's been far enough up here that we forgot. No. Where'd she go? Angela McRobbie, going back to her post-feminism, because it's post-feminist neoliberalism where the focus is on individual empowerment at the cost of critical structural changes. The emphasis on accepting rather than addressing systematic health concerns like access to food, healthcare, and education shifts in the movement is, which should be the movement's goal if they wanted to create actual social change. So instead of, they'll sit here all day and tell you that they're talking about food deserts and they're talking about access to healthcare. They don't usually go on about education too much, but they will sit here and they will tell you that those are the things they're advocating for without actually advocating for it. And at the same time, downplaying the effects of your health, on your health, of obesity on your health, and also downplaying your ability to have control over your own health. Like that whole, you can't help it, good healthy food is too expensive, so you can't buy it. It's out, health is outside of your grasp because XYZ. It's not true. Anybody can walk. Anybody can eat an apple, right? That's the kind of thing. You have to have to take control of that aspect of your life, right? Again, speaking from a point of privilege, I don't work 80 hours a week. I get it. Well, I get that happens, but but it still comes down to, it's still your choice. You're still the one buying the food. You're still the one eating the food, right? As much as it sucks, it still comes down to your choice. You may have been dealt a shit hand, but it's up to you how you play the cards. So, but if they really were concerned about changing what the system, they would be advocating for healthy food being accessible to everyone, regardless of class, race, whatever. They would be advocating for the healthcare system to not look at somebody and just be like, well, you're fat. Okay, we'll work on the fat part, but in the meantime, I'm having this issue, right? Sure, it might be caused by me being fat, but I need to fix this so that I can fix being fat, right? That kind of a thing. And then just in general, overall education. If people were more informed about food health, how food affects health, how health affects your mental state, your ability to do work, your ability to get education, your ability to think while you're being schooled, that kind of stuff. If people were more educated about that, they'd be less likely to turn to things that are detrimental to that, right? Theoretically. There's always going to be somebody you can't teach, but knowledge is power. And again, I'm sorry, I was sort of kind of ignoring the chat. Yeah, you can always choose to eat and work out better. I mean, not everybody has the ability to go be a badass bodybuilder. It's just not something everybody can do. There's a lot of time and a lot of money that goes into that kind of stuff. You can probably take a walk. You know, you can probably take 15 minutes out of your day and go for a walk. You could not buy chips and soda for lunch and maybe take carrot sticks and, I don't know, peanut butter. Anyway, my point being, even peanut butter is better than most processed foods that are out there, right? Land designer, I've worked 80 hours a week and didn't have time to eat. Obese wasn't an option. There is that. There is also that. Some people are just too busy to eat. I don't know who you people are, but I don't have problems eating. Yeah, and that's, Gunarat, that's what we're talking about here. Anybody can buy healthy food. It doesn't have to be expensive. This is a pathetic argument that the fat acceptance haze people will use to excuse their position. Yes, that's the point. Is that they are not actually trying to improve anything. They're using it as an excuse for their lifestyle that they have chosen. We will talk about manipulation, I promise. Did the feminism thing make sense? I know we were talking about Barbie at the same time. I know putting feminism into any argument is usually like a death knell, but because God forbid we talk about women as their actual people. That would be insanity. We've talked about victimization through victimhood. Fat acceptance advocates often emphasize their victimhood in order to deflect criticism and reframe their position as marginalized, when in reality, they are often not part of any marginalized group. And that's where the white saviorism comes in. When they cannot align themselves identity-wise with a marginalized group, they often turn to, someone must speak for the marginalized group and I'm going to do it. And that's white saviorism. I don't know how I feel, cloak on cloak, I don't know how I feel about people having to shop at dollar store. I mean, it's still food, but we go back to that whole like classism thing. Why blame food deserts and such when your diet actually has no effect on your body according... Well, yeah, and then there's that. That's the other problem. Like, their arguments don't line up. There's no logical alignment in their arguments. Like, one minute they're arguing that the food doesn't make you fat, and then the next minute they will argue that people are fat because food quality, especially in the US, is abysmal. Which is it? Am I fat because my food sucks, or am I fat because there's nothing I can do about it? It can't be both. We're real? Yes, you're a real chicken. I believe in you. Bren Handleton, I think the food pyramid actually contributed quite a bit, but that's because we got bamboozled early. The person's, Ansel Keys' heart was in the right place, but it didn't end well for us. We're not going there, Plague Doctor. Sugar is an issue, though, Mental Retreat. Processed sugar is a terrible thing. It's literal poison. It tastes good. It should be treated like alcohol, which is also a literal poison. That's funny, Plague Doctor. Hey, Taco Talia. Dollar Tree is different than Dollar General or Family Dollar. Okay, yeah. I think I do confuse all of those. Right, so everybody's still here. Cool. I haven't lost anybody yet. If I do lose you, at me so that I'll see it. Because otherwise it gets lost here. Oh, don't get me wrong, carbs are bad too, but usually when they're talking about carbs, they're talking about like ultra processed foods. And a lot of those foods have a crap ton of added sugar to them, along with added fat and salt. So they're just not good for you. They're just not good. That's why they taste delicious. They are literally, they are scientifically designed to taste good. That's why they're so fucking addictive. Yes, Gunnar out. We are not here for fat acceptance and haze equating obesity with racism. We talked about that earlier. You're just vibing. Sorry, PJ. I can't exercise due to health conditions. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, a lot of the fat acceptance people have this very, like, backward idea of how weight loss occurs. Like, they seem to think that you have to exercise the fat away, and it's like, it doesn't work like that. Like, we know how you lose weight, and it's calories in, calories out. The exercise helps, but you can lose weight without ever exercising. Will your body be like physically fit? No. Probably. I don't know, maybe. Depends on where you start from. There is winter season. That's why I was talking about education earlier. If people were better educated about health and how food affects health and yada, 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 they would probably make better decisions in general. There's still going to be people who won't, but in general, I think most people would make better decisions. Yeah, real sugars such as like fruit, rice and potato. I guess I view those more as carbs than I do sugars, but I guess it all breaks down the same. Yeah. Yes, the food industry is diabolical. Rock and roll McDonald's, goddamn McDonald's. I wish beer had less carbs. Beer is literally called liquid bread. No, don't bring up donuts. No, I want a donut. Yeah, exactly, Winter Seas. Also, see how Glitter and Lasers talks about losing weight as if it's torturous and always an unhealthy restriction. That's how they talk about that here too, as well. Like, you gotta work yourself to, you gotta exercise until you drop from exhaustion, and you can only eat 900 calories a day, and it all has to be carrot sticks and celery. You can't have any real food. Disagree. Wait, you have tried and made many a remission for the same thing? I think the difference would be like one-on-one education versus like societal education. Like right now, society is convinced that ultra-processed foods, fast food, that kind of stuff is cheaper than healthy food, non-processed foods, right? Minimally and non-processed foods. Those are real things. Healthy is quotes. Anyway, my point is like, societally, if we started teaching that earlier and more seriously, not just like a one-off class that you took in high school called health, you know, if it was part of everyday knowledge base, I think overall people would generally choose better foods for better outcomes, right? Like if we taught people the actual effects of sugar on the body and on the brain, they would be less likely to eat as much of it as they do. Of course, it's still really addictive, so who knows? But I guess I have more faith in humanity. Maybe I shouldn't. Oh yeah, no, I believe that. No, I 100% Plague Doctor. I believe that. That's what I'm talking about, like societal education versus one-on-one education. Like you're trying one-on-one to reach this person, and societally they've been taught other things, and so that's why they revert back to that. Also, it's probably hard. It's probably hard for them, and people don't like effort. I don't necessarily think we need to scare people into health. That's not the way I would like to do it, but here's the thing with Ozempic though, like aside from, I'm actually pretty excited about the GLP-1s. I think the proof that Ozempic and the GLP-1s work, and they work effectively by preventing people from eating too much, which is Cisco, it's calories in, calories out at that point. I think the fact that those things work proves that you can lose weight, that anybody can lose weight, and that it really is calories in, calories out. Doesn't mean it's easy. It just means that that is actually how that works. Exercise is great, and you should exercise. You know, got a mirror here. But my point is the exercise is not going to cause the weight loss. The exercise is going to help, and it's definitely going to help maintain. And it's definitely good for you for a variety of other reasons, including your mental health. But the only known way to actually reduce fat and weight off of the body is to eat less than you're burning. even if you're eating at maintenance, you're going to maintain what you're at, right? Yeah, Michiwi, I just started studying nutrition this year. Yeah, exactly. Take one nutrition class and it'll blow your damn mind. Stop mollycoddling stupidity. Wait a minute. Do FA people actually believe this? Is it delusional or willful ignorance, or is it a justification for their addiction? Yes. On all accounts. They do believe it. It is willful ignorance. Some of them might be delusional. Like secret eaters. Secret eaters kind of shows me that some people are just delusional. They just don't know how much they're eating because they're just not paying attention. But they think they're eating 1,200 calories. And some people, it is a justification for their addiction. It really is. Look at Anna. Look at Amber. Look at Foodie. So they know the food's hurting them. They know they need to eat less. Not a single one of them can do it. Since most people are glued to their phones, most of the advertisements go right to their brain. Yes. And that's the other thing we would need to combat as a society. But that would be consumer education and consumer awareness. Dang, Andrea, that's cheap. Where the hell are you? Where are you located again? I'm not on Ozempic. I've thought about it, but I'm not on it. All right. Ruby Skies. Yeah, I think I saw that. Delulu is the Salulu. Yeah, going back to Karl Marx's theory of commodification, fat acceptance movement can be seen as commodifying obesity and turning it into a profitable industry. Not only in like the clothes and the makeup and all of that, but going back to food. If we tell people, and they do, if fat acceptance tells people that the food isn't causing the problem, go ahead and eat whatever you want. Like, how many of these fat acceptance nutritionists do you hear, the body positive nutritionists, that are like, if your body's craving a cupcake, eat the cupcake? And then it's found out that, like, a lot of these people, I don't know how many of them, but it was a large number of them, were being paid by sugar industries to say that shit, right? To tell people to eat sugar. They were being paid to do that, right? But these people were seen as authorities. They have this message out there now. Oh, if your body's craving sugar, eat sugar. It's not bad for you. It's totally bad for you. But now you've educated an entire group of people to believe that if your body's craving a cookie, eat the cookie, because the cookie's not the reason you're obese. It's just magic. You're just pulling calories from the air, apparently. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, everyone deserves a little treat. Yeah, do you though? Yeah, exactly, Winter Seas. Anna cannot not be, Anna can't be uncomfortable. That's become very evident to me. Anyway, we were talking about, yeah, here we go. Obesity has become commodified. It is packaged, marketed, and sold as an identity, creating new consumer markets centered around body positivity. The transformation of obesity into a commercial asset reflects capitalism's co-opting of social justice movements. Taking us back to feminism, this is how feminism got killed. Capitalism co-opted feminism, started using feminism to sell identity and the concept of freedom and choice to women, and now they think they can just buy it, and now we don't need feminism anymore. I can just go to the store and buy it, right? Same thing here with obesity. It's now part of your identity. How many of these women are, how many of these fat talkers are like, I'm obese, I'm this, I'm overweight, I live in a larger body. Like, it's one of their identity flags, and they're more than happy to tell you that. Like, that's how they identify themselves. It is their personal identity. And once you have people convinced that that's their identity, now you just have to market to that identity. Oh, you're fat, huh? How about you, do you need bigger pants? You know, that kind of a thing. But, you know, it's not like that. It's like, oh, well, we make clothes for people living in a larger body. Wouldn't you like to shop at our brand? Kind of a thing. Yeah, Angela McRobbie's emphasis on self-empowerment through consumption masks the reality that body image struggles are exploited for profit. We're not even talking about the diet industry at this point, because we could criticize the diet industry with the same lens. What we're talking about is the food industry at this point. How many low-fat, no-fat... You know what? There's... I think it was Sam at Every Size. I saw you guys talking about her. Who did a... No, it wasn't. I think it was Kiana Dockery, actually. Did a real quick clip on the fact that some of these food companies are making food that is meant to be used alongside GLP-1 drugs, right? They're targeting people who are using Ozempic and Wegovy and that kind of stuff to lose weight. They're targeting them with instant meals and snacks and shit like that to eat while they're taking their Wegovy and stuff, because it's part of the identity now, right? The fried ice cream crumble cookie? Oh, all right. Sorry, I had to put those words in order. I apologize. People say that about all white, straight-sized cis people? What? Oh, FAs have literally said if you're skinny, you're boring. Fat people are inherently more interesting. Okay. That's definitely what Anna thinks. That's interesting, Lily. Treating yourself for things that you have to do in your everyday life teaches your brain that you can't do those things without the treat. That's a good point. That's a good way of looking at it, actually. Snackwells. Oh my god, Snackwells. God, those things were terrible. It's not just the protein snacks, Renata, but the protein snacks are definitely part of it. They like these microwave meals, these like, I think one of the things Kiana was showing were these like little microwave pizzas that you could get, and they're like the right number of calories, like that's how they're being sold. The right number of calories for your diet, yada yada yada. Anyway. Cloak on cloak, isn't that kind of the point? Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah, Adderall. But that's a good point. I have Pavlov dogged myself into needing a sweet treat after dinner. Unfortunately, trying to undo that now. Yeah, exactly. Like, I've noticed it's really weird. I've noticed if I eat spicy food, after I'm done eating it, I want a piece of chocolate. Specifically chocolate, like dark chocolate. And I don't know why I've made the connection between spicy food and chocolate, but like that craving after eating spicy food is really strong. But it's a thing. I don't need chocolate. I'm full. I'm not even hungry anymore. Why am I eating chocolate? Nobody needs chocolate. We eat it because we like it. 200 pounds is okay. It's normalizing being 400 plus. You have a problem with? Well, certain people should be 200 pounds, but not a lot. I think people need to recognize we don't deserve much of anything. And that goes back to privilege. All the way back to the beginning of the conversation. Like, we have the privilege of rewarding and treating ourselves for everyday life, you know? We have this idea that we deserve things because we can. You don't deserve anything. I mean, you deserve basic necessities so that you can live because you're a human being, and that's, you know, I think all humans deserve that, but like, you don't have to have a Snackwell's cookie. Like, you don't deserve Oreos. Do that with wine. Maybe it's just the pairing of spice with chocolate. Maybe there's just like a natural pairing there. Uncomfortable ginger. You're stress cleaning. I'm sorry. I know there's some men that can come in around 200 pounds, but I think most women are not going to get around there naturally. There are a few, don't get me wrong. But even like Chikara, if you guys know who Chikara Transformations is, even Alona, I think she's... I don't remember what her last weigh-in was, but I do remember one point she was saying that she was like 160 or 140, something like that. What if I walk 2 miles though? Then you get to have 2 bagels, cloak uncloak. You're allowed 2 bagels if you want. Oh no, 2 miles you get 1 bagel. Sorry, my bad. 2 miles equals 1 bagel. Do I deserve a snack? Children get a pass. Do they though? How tall is Anna? I think she recently stated that she is 5'10". I know that number has changed in the past. She is at least 5'10". Okay, Ilona says she is 67 or some. I'm sorry, 76 to 77. What is that in American? Sorry. What is that in actual pounds? Like not British pounds, like American pounds, because USA. Had to give him a crash course on Bobo. Wow. Have fun with that. Anna could be 200 and svelte. I don't know about svelte, but I think Anna could pull off 200 and be okay. A lot of people want to be Chikara. I don't want to be a Chikara. I wish I had Chikara's drive. I would not be obese. Wait, did somebody work that out for me because I'm an idiot? Yeah, I'm with Molly. I need to be under that. Yeah, being short people suck. 169. Thank you, Molly. Being short sucks because, like, you can't be fat and be short because any fat makes you look horrible and it's just bad for your joints. All right. So, to sum all of this up, manipulation. Manipulation and fat acceptance, or fat acceptance and manipulation. Manipulation through victimhood. We've talked about how they like to weaponize victimhood and take on aspects of other groups who are victims and use those as if they were their own traits, right? They like to compare themselves to excuse me, like to compare themselves to the Black rights movement a lot. They like to compare themselves to the gay rights movement. They like to compare themselves to this oh, Jesus Christ. I saw somebody, never mind, I don't even want to go into it. Anyway, they like to compare themselves to like people in war zones. If I hear one more of them compare themselves to the Holocaust, I literally will get violent. Anyway, those are all examples of how they try to assimilate other groups' stories of victimization into their own and then weaponize it so that they cannot be critiqued or anything. I mean, how many times have you heard them say, if a person from a marginalized group tells you that a word is offensive, you need to quit using that word. So stop using the word obese. No, you're not marginalized. Obese is a medical term. No. You know, that kind of a thing. Liz, that's awesome. So they use that. Manipulation through pseudoscience. Again, yeah, Gunnaret, I'm with you there. Manipulation through pseudoscience, dismissing actual medical science, rewording medical science, using pseudoscience in general to back up their points as if it is medical science, misleading the general public through misinformation, through medical misinformation. The same thing with about food. You know, the food kind of goes along with the medical misinformation. misleading people with the concept of food and food commerce and that stuff. But that's how they manipulate the audience, how they manipulate the people listening to them. They'll tell them these stories even though there's nothing to back them up. If anything, there's evidence to prove that they are incorrect, but they'll continue to push the narrative because it backs up their story. The manipulation through white saviorism, I don't think a lot of people catch it because here's the thing with white saviorism. If you're white, you don't notice you're doing it most of the time. And secondly, people see you being a savior, you know, talking about a marginalized group or how you're going to empower this group or, you know, speak for that group. And a lot of people outside of that group might go, oh, wow, that's great. Yeah, you should do that. Yeah, yay, you. Whereas the people within the group that you're talking for are like, I don't need you to talk for me, but yet you continue to talk over them in order to talk for them, right? But that's a way of controlling the narrative, because if they cannot speak for themselves, even if that means you are preventing them from speaking for themselves, that allows you to control the narrative, because all other people hear is what you're saying. They're not hearing the actual person saying what they actually need, what they actually want, how they actually view something, right? Bye, Takotalia. And taking this all the way back to privilege, by using the concept of privilege, fat acceptance also tries to do that in a manipulative way. There's even one argument in Nadia, one of the clips Nadia pulls up, there's even one person going, I'm not privileged, you're privileged. Yes, that was the point of the video. So there's even that, like, the use of the term privilege as a negative, morally judgmental term, and knowing the fear of people have around terms such as that. But nobody wants to be judged through words, right? Nobody wants to be called a racist, right? That's a bad thing. I'm not a bad person, kind of a thing. Same thing with privilege. I'm not privileged. I'm not a bad person. But because they've weaponized these terms, they've turned, well, I mean, being a racist is always a bad thing, but because they've weaponized the term privilege, they'll turn it on other people. And by doing that, they're controlling the narrative. They're manipulating the story, because I can shut the conversation down by accusing you of being something, some form of ism that is socially unacceptable, right? If I'm having a conversation with somebody and I just turn to them and go, that sounds like something a racist would say, probably the conversation's going to end, or it's just going to go downhill from that point, because whoever I've said that to is now on the defensive because I've just called them a racist, right? Same thing with privilege. If they look at you and they go, that sounds like something someone with privilege would say, a lot of people will panic, because, again, for whatever reason in society right now, privilege is a bad thing. And so people freak out. I'm not privileged. I'm a good person. I swear. So that's going to shut the conversation down, because now that person's on the defensive. Now they have to defend themselves against this privilege concept. You know, how many times have you heard somebody tell somebody that they're privileged, and then their rebuttal is, no, I worked my ass off for that. Somebody in the comments, I'm not coming for you. I'm just pointing out that someone in the comments said, I worked my ass off for this and I'm privileged. It's you can be both. It's fine. It doesn't make you a bad person, right? But so I think, now that I've bounced around all over my notes, I think that's everything. So yes, that's also why they've tried to weaponize the term fatphobic. Have I lost everybody? Did I lose the stream? Where's my stream? I don't even know what folder it's under. Well, not that one, probably. Well, shit. Whatever. You guys will come back. You meant to come back to me. Ah, there it is. Pull that out. Okay, we're good. Right. All right. So, I have rambled for 2 hours at this point. Do you guys have any questions about what I've talked about in the past 2 hours? Well, there's something to be said, Winter Seas, about having the privilege of having a job. There are some people that cannot get work for whatever reason. I mean, some people can't work, you know? So there is a bit of a privilege to being somebody who's even within a group that can get a job, right? And especially in today's economy. Yes, Gunaret, there's a difference between saviorism and being an ally. There are white people who are allies, and in solidarity with misaligned people. It's when you start... An ally is somebody who's going to stand next to you and amplify your voice or allow you to speak for yourself. White saviorism is when specifically white people start speaking over a marginalized group and not listening to the marginalized group in question, right? But at the same time, they're like, look at me! I'm such a virtuous person. I'm speaking out for this poor marginalized group who cannot speak for themselves. Meanwhile, they're like, yeah, no, I'm right here. I can totally talk for myself. Thank you. How about you hand me the mic? Let me talk. I will take those 64 likes, though, Nikki. I will take every one of them. I have privilege and I'm also the best. That's fine. You go. Having confidence in yourself is fine. Will there be a pop quiz? Maybe. Maybe. I've thought about putting questions in the comment in the community tab. Right, Lucy Jane. I mean, right now I'm controlling the conversation because it's my channel. Yeah, having privilege can be uncomfortable, but you can also get more than your fair chance to understand and empathize with many others if you take the time. Yeah. Yes, Rocky, you can be both. I wouldn't say, I'm not going to go as far as to be like, well, you're privileged because... No, I'm not going to do that. It's okay to be a pain in the ass. You can be a pain in the ass and be privileged. It's fine. Am I planning to break the subjects up in the future videos like FA and white saviorism or BOPO and feminism? I have done a BOPO and feminism one. Right now, I plan to do this more to be more academic in the videos, because I feel like I kind of got away from that because Amber got really fucking boring, but I can bring it back around. And I thought that this topic with BOPO freaking out about being called out for being privileged, I thought that was a perfect launching point because they are. And there we go. So I guess the long answer to that, Brioche, was yes. Yes, I do. Redo the whole thing but maintain direct eye contact with the camera, no breaks. That'll be uncomfortable for everybody. Should you have been taking notes? Yes. Especially if you're one of my interns, I expect notes. Hello, Entourage. No, I will not be a good teacher. I'm a terrible teacher. When I get to 10K, will I be giving out a prize? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about when people do that kind of stuff, because like my problem is I feel like it is inherently unfair. So I would rather do something like God, I'm sorry, cat hair. I'd rather do something like the getting the cat for the channel, like sponsoring the cat thing. I'd rather do something like that, only because then I'm not like singling out any one individual. I'm doing something in the name of the channel. Does that make sense? I guess, Rocky. I mean, thank you for your service. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I truly do appreciate it. I don't know. I don't like a lot of the rhetoric that goes around the military here in the U.S., so I won't go out on a limb and say that. No, my entire family's military, so. My boys have already been fed. Do they have to be referenced? Yes. I expect a bibliography in the back. Cite your sources. Different social pattern. That would be interesting, Allie, and I don't know how to break that down yet. We do need a kitty, Lucy, and we will have one soon. I think you all deserve a treat for sitting here through this. Well, since I have this up, I do kind of want to go over... I really did want to play more of Nadia's video than just that. Dude, okay, we've got two cats who are perfect. Perfect weight-wise. And then we've got the tabby. I can't get his weight down. And it's not even like he overeats anymore. We've got a feeder. It measures out his food. We watch him when we give all the other cats food, so I know he's not eating their food. It's like, he's just a big cat. He's just meant to be a big cat, I guess. But every time I take him to the vet, they're like, he's overweight. I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, I literally, I'd have to lock him in a room by himself and never let him eat in order for him to drop weight at this point. Chicago-style dogs. Nom nom nom. Your son's cat just had 3 kittens. Aw, babies. We prefer AAA, American Anthropology Association, thank you. Which is mostly based off of Chicago. Crumble cookies for I still have not had a crumble cookie. I think somebody actually gave me $10 to go do that too. I should probably do that. When you found out Chicago-style pizza was tavern-style and not deep dish, that's a goddamn lie. Chicago-style is deep dish. What? Have I been lied to my entire life? That's okay. Around here they eat something called tomato pie. It's basically deep dish crust with just marinara. That's it. It's just bread and sauce. No cheese, no toppings. It's the weirdest damn thing I've ever seen. They love it here. Oh, I'm sorry, Liz. I hope you get better. Aw, thank you. Thank you. Yay, from Canada. Y'all are so polite there. No, I'm kidding. You are polite, don't get me wrong. But you also have foodie, so I don't know what that says. Potato. No. Tomato. Tomato. Red fruit. I've had potato pie. I do like it. But it's an actual pie with a crust. Tavern style is what the standard pizza is in Chicago, but deep dish is what people think of as Chicago style. I don't know what tavern style pizza is then, apparently. Why do you relate the two in your head? Probably because of the mob. Alright, anyway, let's watch a little bit of this. The melting down begins. There was one in particular. Was it her? Was it that woman? Might have been. No, she didn't actually rebut. Or did she?
The food desert. So let's talk about some numbers.
Even in the context,
This was one I actually wanted to go over.
Food ties back into number
that much more absurd.
And you know what's so funny about that is number 1, genetics, number 2, food deserts, number 3, cost of groceries versus cost of fast food.
We've already gone over this. First off, genetics, they're talking epigenetics for one. And secondly, genetics loads the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. Period. End of discussion. Secondly, we'll talk about food deserts in a second because she puts up these two maps, and there's this really great book called How to Lie with Maps. I highly recommend it, and that's exactly what she's doing here. And three, we've just got done talking about how fast food is not cheaper than buying actual groceries.
Ties back into food deserts. So let's talk about some numbers.
Even
Yes,
in the
let's do.
context of food deserts, there are about 19 million Americans affected by them. Meanwhile, there
Really, Allie? My dad loved that kind of pizza. I hate it.
are approximately 110 million adults in the United States who are affected by obesity. Just adults.
So I'm going to show you two maps. This is the first map. This is a food desert.
No car and no supermarket store within a mile. So that would mean you'd have to physically walk to the grocery store. It's fine to look at the map. It really is. But do keep in mind where the hot zones are, because she's using a heat style map here. I don't know if she made this or if she pulled this off of somewhere else, but this is called a heat style map. And basically, the more concentrated, the hotter the label gets, right? So now, a lot of these places, there are really dark red spots, and you will notice that they are mostly here in the southern states, and then a couple real deep spots out here in the west. I'm guessing that's probably around the reservations and stuff. So just because you're in a food desert, this particular map, because this is just talking about no car and no supermarket, it doesn't take into account if you are growing or maintaining your own food sources. So I know that's not a lot of people, but there are some, which the reason why I'm mentioning that is because out here in the West, you're seeing these two hot zones here. It's entirely possible that yes, they are in a food desert. However, they may still have access to food because they are producing it themselves. That's my stipulation here, but do keep in mind this map.
Okay, so no car and no supermarket store within a mile.
Food deserts in urban areas are defined by not having a grocery store or supermarket within 1 mile of your residence. That's not a long way, just for the record. And in rural areas, I believe that is 10 miles.
So as you can see, like up here, like California, Colorado, Utah, Washington,
And then fuck Alaska, because apparently we don't give a shit about Alaska. There's literally no data here. Cool.
these areas, not really a thing, but then you get down to
And
the
Hawaii.
south and it's very, very red. It's mainly food deserts. So
It is not mainly food deserts, sweetheart. That is not what this is saying at all. There is a hot zone, and this isn't even south, okay? We're still mostly north here. Through this section, there is a lot of food deserts because there is also there's a lot of poverty through here as well.
okay,
That's just not accurate. There are a lot of food deserts on that map in the southeast, but it is not majoritively food deserts in the southeast.
Yeah.
and now, oh,
What she's doing here is trying to correlate obesity with food deserts. What she's not doing is proving her point. These are the areas with the highest amounts of BMI, right? These darkest areas. She went from using a heat map to using this, which is not a heat map. I mean, it is a type of heat map, but it's completely different. It's on a different scale, which is another thing, how to lie with maps. Using maps with different scales to prove the same point. She would need to use, if she really wanted to make her point as strong as she's trying to, she would need to use a heat map similar to the one that she was using previously for the BMI statements here. Because remember that there was a heat zone going through here, and there was a heat zone going through here, right? And then there were two dark red spots over here. But yet our obesity, our largest states here, we've got a stripe going through the Midwest. This is all Midwest through here, right? And then this chunk of the South. This is North. These are northern states. This is South, right? And this is Southwest and the Midwest. That's not what she's showing us here. This would be the Midwest, right? This would be the Midwestern area where there were at least two states up here that were considered to have the highest rates of obesity. And then this would somewhere in here would be Ohio, Indiana, I think Illinois managed to get out of it, but Ohio and Indiana were up in here. There's the food deserts are here. Here's where your hot zone for the food deserts are. And then the rest of them, this kind of correlates. This section here kind of correlates with what she was showing us. Again, it's not a great comparison. This is a good heat map, right? This is a good way of zooming in on very specific areas because this is probably by city, by population, right? This map's just a chunk. And on her maps, this is pretty much the only area that was correlating with that heat map that she was showing you. Again, there were two deep red sections over here. Now, again, the population in this area is very low, just in general, right? But where's your blip in Maine, right? Where's your East Coast stuff? You've got a higher number here, but with that with that food deserts, you should be seeing a lot more of this through here and a lot less of this in the South. Yeah, and then there's that, Kelsey, because you're the first one I saw here. It's not about the food deserts, it's about the culture. The food is important. The food that they are eating is important. Ohio doesn't... Okay, look. Cincinnati chili is not chili. I will die on that hill. I don't know what Skyline thinks they're selling, but that ain't chili. Because the scale of her... No, we're not doing that. Yes, she's trying to show that obesity is caused by food deserts, which it is not. There is a correlation between food deserts. She would have done better showing a correlation between poverty, using a poverty heat map, and the food deserts, because there is a correlation between poverty and food deserts. And there is a correlation between poverty and obesity. But the class of obesity that correlates with most poverty is not class 2 and class 3. Hang on. That's my hair. There we go. So her argument, she could have made her argument. She really could have. It wouldn't have been great, but she could have done it. This did not do it. This is bullshit. This is garbledygook. There's maps are not even related. This is a non-argument. And anybody who actually knows how to read maps or even understands statistics is going to go, the fuck are you talking about? You're barely showing correlation. Barely showing correlation. Regardless of chili Skyline. I actually don't like it. They put cinnamon or something in it. I don't like it. There's some flavor in it I'm not a fan of. Those darker Midwest states have pretty southern vibes too. That's the Dakotas, isn't it? I'm not good at this. I'm bad at this game. Here's Oklahoma though. Oklahoma. Savannah lover research. Now, I will be one of the first people to tell you that Indiana thinks they're a southern state. So there you have that. But that's West Virginia. I think that is technically considered. Where's the Mason-Dixon line? I can't remember. It's a lot higher than I think it is. I think Mason-Dixon's around here. So theoretically, these are southern states. However, they are not on her hot. They are not in the same spot as her heat map from earlier. Anyway, I just wanted to bitch about that. But this is what I'm talking about. This person thinks that they have made an argument. Like, they think that they have not only made the argument, that they have presented evidence that supports their argument. And I'm like, that took me 5 minutes to tear apart. Using the shit that you used as your evidence. Like, I used your own evidence to take your argument apart. But she really believes she's done something here. She really believes she's proved something. And then at the very beginning, she's just rambling. First off, genetics. There's no just no. No. And then she's like, what was the next one? Food deserts. And then I forget whatever third point was. Oh, fast food being more expensive, or fast food being cheaper than whole food. No, that's demonstratively not true. Maryland and Virginia. Yeah, this is This is Virginia, right? I know this is Pennsylvania. There you go. Hi, diary. Just saw you snuck in. So anyway, bad argument. Wait, what did I do?
Oh, do we see a correlation?
To
No.
steal their favorite tagline, correlation is not causation.
And then there's that. Here you go. Yes, research suggests that poverty is linked to obesity. This is true. But, particularly in poorer states of high-income countries like the U.S., some factors that may contribute to this include food access. This is not this. Anyway. Low-income areas may have limited access to fresh, healthy foods at affordable prices. Prove it. No offense. I'm just saying, when you have access to fresh, healthy food, is it truly more expensive than McDonald's? Now, you may not have access to fresh, healthy food. That's legitimate. But when you do, is it actually more expensive? Or are you just told that it is, and so you believe that it is? Or is your only access to fresh, healthy food at, like, no offense to Trader Joe's, but still, Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, or what's the big one around here? Giant? Giant's prices? I don't understand that. Why do you shop there? Though they're insultingly high. You do not need to ever pay that much money for any food substance that comes out of Giant. It is ridiculous. You shop at Giant because you like spending money. Anyway. And a little bit healthier. That's true. She did not cite her sources, no. She barely had those maps big enough that I could see where they were from. I could not tell. I could see that they had some kind of citation on them. Yeah, Acme's cool. Giant's so expensive, Brioche. Do yourself a favor and shop anywhere else. Twice. Jesus, go to Wegmans. Nothing as affordable as not eating when you're not hungry. There's that. I think I mean Giant, Brioche. The only ones around here are called Giant, and they literally have Giant. I don't know what Giant Eagle is, so I'm gonna guess no. Exactly, Lily Rose. Poverty is linked to obesity, but the food you eat doesn't affect your weight. It's kind of the point we were making. Your arguments are ridiculous. Yeah, bananas, rice, beans, lettuce is cheaper than McDonald's. Also, you can buy more of them in one go, which means you have more meals to have. You may spend $20 on groceries, but you can probably get 4 meals out of that. You spend $20 on McDonald's and you might get 2, but probably you're getting 1. Aldi's is clutch, yes. Yeah, Trader Joe's. I was gonna slam Trader Joe's, but honestly, if you just don't buy their like super foo-foo organic-y shit, you're probably good. Produce Junction, heck yeah. You got a Produce Junction around you, man. You are losing money by not shopping there. Go to Chinatown anywhere and you'll find the best prices at the Hong Kong market. There's a couple really interesting like open air markets in our Chinatown. I've been really tempted to shop there, but I have to go downtown. And that's the problem. The problem is going downtown. Once you're there, you're fine. It's just getting there. Yeah, Aldi's has got this really great cherry berry mix. It's really good. I know they've got ahi at Aldi. Yeah. They got a lot of the same stuff at Aldi that they have at Trader Joe's. It's just cheaper because it's the same company. Oh wait, she's not done. Okay.
United States, obesity is heavily linked to poverty, right? Like we have been known this. This is common knowledge, I fear.
Do you see the correlation? Do you see how it's not, oh, you're privileged because you just eat fast food all the time?
You are privileged because you eat fast food all the time. Do you understand how much money you're spending eating fast food all the time? Sam at Every Size did a breakdown of how much money when she went through a really bad binge, like she has binge eating disorder, and so she was I'm messing the story up. Anyway, Salmon Every Size had binge eating. I think she still suffers from it. But anyway, my point is she did a breakdown of her the money she spent on groceries and food when she was in like the height of her binging disorder. And she calculated up how much money she had spent on fast food because she would grab fast food on her way home. And she was like, even when we had no money in the checking account, I would still prioritize getting fast food over paying bills. Sam said that. And I think the amount of money she said she ended up spending was something in the thousands on fast food in a month. And I was just like, Jesus Christ. I mean, no judgment. She was being upfront about it. I'm just like, that blows my mind that a person can mindlessly spend that much money on fast food, because that's what it was. That was her point. She didn't realize how much money she was spending. So I like Lidl. Yeah, Lidl's good. Allie. While drinking a $10 frappe from Starbucks. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Aldi's has got really good salmon too. I've made salmon bowls or poke bowls out of salmon from there too. Hey, comment, there you are. Yeah, hey, comment, it's okay if you say no. Is it possible for me to get a link for the Discord? Because a couple people asked for it and I don't have one. Yeah, Adderall. I think it was Nadia that did a thing where she asked for people to send her, to basically tell her how much money they spent when they were obese, basically, because a lot of people wrote in about how they lost weight. And she's like, well, how much money were you spending when you were obese? And a lot of people wrote in and were like, I spent so much money on food. A lot of it was fast food and that kind of stuff, or just garbage food. Discord. Yeah, exactly, Lily. That's insane. And just imagine how much money she's saved now, right? Like, yeah, it was Nadia. Yeah, it was a good series. It was very eye-opening, and it totally blows this woman's arguments out of the water. It completely blows this woman's arguments out of the water. Oh, thank you, Alyssa. Right, Allie? Uber is not cheap. Salmon and ground turkey are my main meat source. They've got a really, Aldi's has a really good ground sausage too. I love the hell out of that. I like Aldi's meat. I really do. I think they've got, well, at least our Aldi has good meat. The chicken breasts, they pump with a little too much water for me. It kind of disappoints me, but otherwise the meat seems to be really good. There is no, members don't get access to the Discord. There's no membership for that. I just need a link, and Comment has access to that, and I do not. It's not my Discord. It's Nerfy's Discord. She just allows me space on it. So that's a very important thing for you to know. It is not my Discord in any way, shape, or form. Do I get the frozen salmon? I've used frozen salmon. It's okay. Honest to God, I didn't really notice a difference, but they do have fresh salmon at Aldi. There we go. Discord link. Yay. Boop. All right, I have pinned the link to Discord if you want to go join. It is no membership required. But again, not mine. It's just one that Nerfy runs it. I just have space on it. You like the pork roast? Oh yeah, those little pre-made meal things that they've got. They're probably not great for you, but they are delicious, which means they're probably not good for you. They do have good lunch meat. Aldi's is pretty awesome. Lidl's good too, don't get me wrong. I just don't have one near me, so we don't shop there very much. I thought of the pigeon for you. Get him, Comment. You tell that bank lender to stop making your life hell because he should. Aldi does have delivery. You have to do it through Instacart, but you can do grocery delivery from Aldi. You can also have them shop and pick up. At least here. Around here you can. I don't know about everywhere. I didn't know canned salmon was a thing. Hell yeah. That's the canned salmon's the best thing to make salmon. Well, okay. Canned salmon's the best way to make, like, the salmon patties my family used to make, and I like them, so. Anyway.
Do you
Lidl's
see that?
Only an East Coast thing?
Do I have to like make it any more clear for you?
This
Yes.
does not mean what she thinks it means. And that's part of why correlation is not causation is an important principle.
It's almost like when people don't have access to organic health food grocery stores.
You don't need to have access to organic health food grocery stores to eat healthy. Actually, 90% of the organic shit out there is bullshit. It's just a label. They slap it on things so they can charge you more for it. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't make the food healthier. It doesn't make it better. You're just as well off eating a regular banana as you are eating an organic banana. And whoever the genius was who decided to make organic coconuts, there's no such thing as a GMO coconut. So they're all organic. Anyway. Canned Santa. I might have, BJ. It's entirely possible I did actually say that. Yeah, I don't like Walmart, but that's a whole unrelated conversation. You don't use Instacart. That's fair. That's fair, diary. I don't think I buy anything organic. Grass-fed meat does taste different, yes. Grass-fed meat tastes different. Grass-fed butter tastes different. Eggs from non-farm raised chickens taste different. Those things are real, but those not organic necessarily. Walmart is evil. I'm with you, Cooper. You're fine, Adderall. You can eat protein bars. It's fine. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Coconuts are real. I've seen them. I'm just JK. Hypothetically, grass-fed stuff is better because it's what they're supposed to eat. But they being the animals, but there's arguments on both sides. For those of us that eat kosher, the prices are horrible. At Walmart? Fresh eggs do taste different, it's fine.
And an abundance of choices of supermarkets where there's places where there's no Sprouts and no Whole Foods and
Nobody needs an organic health food mart to
I'm gonna lie, Sprouts prices are not that insane. They're not Aldi, but they're not Whole Foods either.
be healthy. You can eat healthy at the dollar store. I know from personal experience.
no anything like that. And it's mainly just fast food like KFC and maybe a McDonald's and a Taco Bell. And that's mainly what's in their tiny little town.
Woman, you are literally describing the area I grew up in. We had a McDonald's, we had a Wendy's, you went down the street a little bit more, there was the Taco Bell, we got a Jack in the Box, we blocked traffic for 2 weeks because of the freaking Jack in the Box. The Taco Bell was also a KFC, so you had the KFC and Taco Bell. You went just a little bit further down, there was the Pizza Hut, and then if you felt like having delivery, you could get Domino's. Like, if there was a fast food, it was within walking distance of my house. All right? I grew up in Indiana. That wasn't on your heat map. That wasn't on your food desert heat map. All right? You can grow bean sprouts, yeah. You just got to be careful with them so that they don't get I don't know, there's something on them that you can get sick from it, but you just got to be careful. Doesn't mean you can't do it. KFC is outrageously expensive, mammy. I mean, it is delicious, but it's still outrageous. I don't think they have this outside the Midwest, but Church's chicken, that's good shit. Right, Adderall? I don't know, man. I'm guessing she's in her 20s. I don't know. I don't know how old these people are. I'm just guessing. She can't be older than 35. There's just no way in hell. Even I didn't look that young when I was 35. They disagreed. It's a salmonella with bean sprouts. Yeah, you just gotta be careful with them, though. You faked the moon landing. Oh, Sonic. We're not gonna talk about Sonic. Jesus, I can't be anywhere near a Sonic.
It's almost like that makes obesity rates higher. And it's almost like that doesn't mean they're privileged. It means that that's the only food they have access to because they live in a
Some of the areas with the highest access to fast food have the highest obesity rates, but are not food deserts. Like, the areas that she's quoting as being, the areas that she showed as being the highest obesity rates, granted, they were chunked by state, so we don't really know area-wise, because, like, Northern Indiana is Northern Indiana is better off financially than Southern Indiana typically is, right? But, so, theoretically, Southern Indiana should be fatter than Northern Indiana. Not true. That's the thing. Her argument here is that poor people are fat because they can only eat fast food. The places that have the most access to fast food are not necessarily the impoverished food desert areas that she was presenting, which shows in her map, her state-by-state map. Again, a better example would have been a heat map very similar to her food desert map, but I don't think she generated those maps herself, go figure, which means she didn't have control over the data, which means she doesn't know what the data is, or else she would have been able to generate her own maps, which means she would actually understand the correlation between one data set and the other data set, which she does not. She's just pulling shit off the internet and slapping it together and hoping that it actually proves her point and that no one will think any deeper of it than her rambling here on TikTok. I don't think you have to have college level stats courses to understand that those maps were not the same, that they're not showing you the same data. But I don't shop at ShopRite, Sweary Fairy. I don't even know if we have one around here.
food desert.
I have lived in poor neighborhoods. I've bought vegetables from gas stations before because in these areas, there are community efforts to combat the crap food, to combat the lack of access, because we don't want to eat that crap. We want to eat better. We have community gardens. We have little free pantries, sorry. And I can tell that she, like most people in this video, think that they're doing a nice thing. They think they're defending a marginalized population, but ultimately they don't have a good grasp on what they're talking about.
That's white saviorism. That's the non-academic definition of white saviorism. Anyway, why is she yelling? 'Cause she's mad, Ruby. We're not going to talk about that guy. What was this lady's shtick? That guy was literally just, I don't even think he was speaking English, to be perfectly frank with you.
In the original video.
I have a hot take for you. If you were
So tell me you don't have any fat friends without telling me you don't have any fat friends.
So tell me you didn't pay attention to the video without telling me you didn't pay attention to the video. The woman literally said she was obese. The woman in the original, the OP, she says she's fat. Okay, what's your argument?
What does that have to do with anything?
My name's Kayla, licensed counselor,
If this woman was my counselor, I would leave so fast. I would be like, no, never mind. I can live with depression. It's fine.
certified intuitive eating counselor, and fat liberation activist. This take is so stupid for so many reasons, and I could literally eviscerate the argument from
Please do. Go on. Miss, I'm so educated, I'm better than everyone else. Go on.
a bunch of different standpoints, but what I'll do today is just talk about the fact that if you are not a part of a marginalized group, do not make sweeping generalizations over the marginalized group.
She is part of your marginalized group. I love this argument so much.
So she could take this argument down from a number of legitimate angles, but instead she's just...
Yes, Alyssa. Poor people are fat because they are poor.
Gonna use a logical fallacy?
Because it just showcases that you don't know any fat people.
Again, she literally states she is a fat person.
If your assumption is that fat people are gorging themselves into oblivion, your only evidence is probably that you've been watching too much My 600-Pound Life, because
Nobody said anything about gorging yourself. All she said is if you have access to more calories than you need. Being in a caloric surplus doesn't have to look crazy and cartoonish like it does on My 600-Pound Life.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with 600-pound life.
But those people aren't just a little bit overweight or obese even. They
47. Thank you, Renata. 47. Actually, it might be like 51, but 47 last time I checked.
are morbidly obese.
that's not what body diversity is. There have always been, body diversity has always existed. And the fact that you're a white woman, or at least a presenting white woman doing this, is extremely problematic because your body.
First off, going after somebody because they present a certain way is bullshit, because you don't know that person. You don't know shit about that person. You're literally, the person who is all about not making judgment calls based on appearances, are literally making a judgment call based on appearances. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes that's what we've got to go off of, our appearances, and we have to make a call based on that. However, just because somebody's passing in your opinion does not mean A, they belong to whatever group they're passing in, and B, that they belong to that group at all. Anyway. Oh my god, that pizza party from 600-Pound Life, man. I would have had to have frozen like at least 2/3 of that. There's no way in hell I'd have gotten through that before it went bad. Masking as a black woman. How dare you assume that she's white? It's fun. Get dog hollering, that's funny. Haven't heard that in a minute. I can't go after her for her eyebrows because they are doing their own thing today. Yes, fat acceptance does cause racial divides. I will stand by that. 100%. That was what we were talking about earlier in the Discord. Oh man, my partner can put down a pizza, like a whole pizza all on his own, which is why we don't get pizza. Because I'll have like 2 pieces and he'll have everything else. She's presenting as a woman. No, she's presenting as a white woman. She's going after this person for presenting as a white woman. I'm Irish white.
Body, it reflects Eurocentric beauty standards, which means your body is extremely privileged compared to other.
I pass as an Irish person who's Asian. Time I say I'm Asian, I get told by Irish friends and family that I'm Irish. I have another friend who was, I have another acquaintance who was, she was Irish and Filipino, which I think that's cool. I'm sorry, I think it's cool. We have a really cool Irish immigrant memorial statue. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Here in Philly, and it's a really, really, like, I think it's very moving. The first time I saw it, I actually kind of teared up a little bit because it's very impactful. But a lot of Irish history here. American Irish history, obviously. But anyway. I need eyebrow help too. Someone come do my brows for me. I lost my brown, and so I tried to use black. Anyway, I hate my eyebrows is what I'm trying to say.
They're more curvature, or other cultures who have
Irish Japanese, that's amazing. Like Irish too. Not like American Irish. Her dad's from Ireland.
more curvature in their bodies.
So her argument is, no, you're privileged.
Lucky.
Who are being demonized for not being thin. So just check that. Maybe read some books about anti-blackness and anti-fatness, and find some fat friends.
She is fat. Again, she stated that in the original video. So tell me you didn't watch the video without telling me you didn't watch the video. So basically what you're doing is just jumping on the train because you saw everybody else make a video response to this, but you didn't actually watch the video. You're just going off of the outrage that everybody else has And made your own video based on that. Gotcha.
That's all I got for you. Have a good day.
Not to be mean myself, but that was a whole lot of nothing. Disappointingly so, since she started off by saying she could eviscerate this argument.
You have privilege.
That might be some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard. That's certainly a hot take, and you're also completely wrong.
Really?
So she goes on to explain how if you can find enough food to manage to make yourself obese or morbidly obese, you're actually really, really privileged, and you need to recognize how much privilege you have
Yes. Yes, you do.
over other people.
Seemed like she just wanted to give some people something to think about. Some people who complain loud and often. And the direct comparison
Skinny popcorn was fat phobic. I remember when skinny cow was a thing and people lost their shit over that for a while. Full-blooded Korean. Oh, your mom is full-blooded, born and raised. I mean, culturally, then you're Irish. That's how that shit works, though. Doesn't mean you can't also be Korean. I'm just saying you got the Irish culture there at least. Culture is what you're raised in, so. There's a person's point. That's what I'm talking about, though, Lone Entourage. The thing with a lot of these responses to this person, to the OP, they're gibberish. They have nothing to do with what she said. They're either blatantly ignoring what she said or misrepresenting what she said, which is, I mean, in the weird way that argumentation has become today, I guess is valid, but at the same time, you're not even talking about the same thing.
she made was to people who can't even access the calories that they need to survive. And somehow that's controversial.
So first things first, we know that the main cause of anybody's weight is genetics.
No, we don't.
Genetics plays an insanely important part in what your weight is going to be.
No, it doesn't.
No, we don't know this. Fat acceptance likes to say this, but this is not some understood fact. And there's no genetic expression that can create energy from nothing. If someone like that existed, it would be a miracle and we would study them.
Secondly, I love how she completely ignores the fact that food that is not great for you is significantly cheaper than like healthy food.
Also not true. We've already had that discussion.
And can usually feed a family for longer.
That one blew my mind, to be perfectly frank. So what you're saying is if I go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac, that somehow the Big Mac is going to feed my family longer than the rotisserie chicken that I bought for $10. A Big Mac is like $8 to $9 around here. They're basically the same price. Okay. Assumes information, not in evidence. Yeah, exactly.
So if your options are eating McDonald's or not eating anything, you're going to get a burger.
I mean, I guess if my options are eat McDonald's or starve to death, I'm going to eat McDonald's. You don't even have to do that hard to convince me. But I could still buy good food for the price of buying bad food. I don't even have to go far to do it.
Yeah, but those aren't the only two options. And if she really believed what she said about
Sprouts wasn't terrible. I've been in there a few times. It's not that bad.
genetics, then why would it matter how much any food costs?
Secondly, she makes zero mention of food deserts, where there are literally no options.
You do not live in a food desert. She said if you, the individual, have the ability to eat in excess, you, this individual, have privilege. It doesn't matter about food deserts. Also, she did mention you have privilege over people who don't have access to food, which would be these phantom people who live in these mysterious zones called food deserts. So she did address it, just not in the way you wanted her to. You can feed your family for, well, yeah, but you're like a homesteader too. You're like, you're doing it on cheat codes though, Christina. I appreciate that though. 6 months, look at you. You're still Hulk mad. This McDonald's salads had more calories in them than their fucking hamburgers though. I bet those nuggets would be good on day 7. Yeah, we went out to dinner tonight and spent as much on one evening's meal as we did on a week's worth of groceries. If you want to do that, that's fine. I think everybody deserves to do that kind of stuff if you can afford it. But the fact that you can recognize that that's exactly what happened, these people will argue that the money that you spent on dinner is less than what you would spend on groceries, which is just not true. You can get $7. See, they used to be, Wegmans used to sell rotisserie chickens for about $6, and I feel like last time I was in the store they were $10. But that could just be because of the chicken shortage, whatever. I don't know, same reason why we can't have nice eggs anymore. Oh man, dim sum. Screw you people. A rotisserie chicken, man, if you pluck that thing correctly, you get one good meal, like, without having to doctor it up. Keep the frame around, take the breasts off, take the wings off. You got chicken soup to make out of the stock. You've got chicken and dumplings to pull the meat off the bones with. You've got that stock you can use in damn near anything. Plus, if you've got the chicken breasts, you've got at least one other meal. If you put them into something like chicken and rice or something like that, you've probably got at least 2 other meals coming out of those chicken breasts. Plus, if you eat the drumsticks the day of, that's one meal there, right? Or you can just pull an Amber Lynn and eat the entire fucking chicken. That's fine too. It's still cheaper than the Big Mac. I got everybody on rotisserie chicken. Sorry. It's fine. We're all hungry at this point. We're gonna finish this and then we're gonna be done.
For fresh
This
ingredients
video,
within a
this
certain
clip.
mile radius and only processed food available. What
So
does privilege mean to you for you to say this?
you are privileged. Look at that nice ring you've got on. Look at those nice earrings you've got on. Look at those nice eyelashes you've got going. You're wearing some kind of makeup that looks decent. Your hair looks very nice, which tells me you've got access to good grooming products, if not running water, and probably nice running water. I have friends who live in other countries who don't even have hot water. Okay? Bitch, please. I'm just saying, they don't complain this much. I'm just like, so what is your definition of privilege, woman?
We could flip that question right back around and ask, what does privilege mean to you? Because apparently being born in a part of the world where poverty doesn't mean you're going to starve is not a privilege.
No one has suffered like I have suffered.
If you can't see the screen, this lady is just making faces like she's trying to talk, but she's so mad she can't.
I do that with Amberlynn videos. Also with Anna videos. I feel this woman's pain. However, I think she's stupid.
It's about what they put into the food.
I thought the food didn't cause obesity.
Not the quantity of what we're eating.
Yes. Yes, actually. Yes.
This situation really reminds me of the mom that fed her kids donuts for breakfast. So many people have come out to say how bad ultra-processed foods are.
Look, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I didn't eat this shit when I was a kid. I'm really not, so I'm not gonna come for this woman. However, it kind of breaks my heart that in today's society where we have more information about this kind of crap, that she's still feeding this to her kids. Like, her kid must be bouncing off the fucking walls 24/7 with all the sugar that she feeds her. But, you know, it is what it is. I saw a comment talking about, Kim talking about grinding the chicken down. Okay, fun time story. My grandmother used to make this thing called ham salad. It is not made with ham. It is made with German-style bologna that you put through the meat grinder and then add mayo and yellow mustard to. Sometimes you put in pickle relish. Sometimes you put in chunked up celery. And serve on bread. It is delicious. It's one of the greatest things ever made. It looks awful. I think, just lost his name. Zachary Michael. I think he saw, I want to say it was Kay's Cooking or something. He saw somebody make basically that exact same thing. And he made it one day because he thought it was so disgusting. And he got halfway through eating one of it. He's like, I hate that I don't hate this. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's good, isn't it? Shut up. You want to talk poverty food? That's poverty food. Deviled ham in the can. I don't know if I've had that.
A similarity.
Anyway, I really am done here. If you guys want to go watch the rest of Nadia's video, I highly recommend that you do if you haven't. Here's the link to it. Nadia is one of probably my favorite channels to watch when it comes to fat acceptance stuff. She's very soft-spoken, but she's very educated on the points that she talks about. I feel like she does her research before she comes at these people, that kind of stuff. So no, it was not Amber's tuna dip thing, though I think he's made a couple things that Amber's made that have turned out. I don't go after Amber for her cooking because I know poverty cooking when I see it. It's called deviled ham because it was rough. Maybe that's why she called it ham salad. I could never figure out why my grandmother called it ham salad because it does not have ham in it. You buy that for German dinner. Okay. Well, I mean, she's the German side of the family, so. Dog food. I mean, it's not pretty. It is not pretty. It's good. You don't have to put anything pickled in it. You can just do bologna and ham and mustard. Those are the main ingredients. Sometimes she'd put an egg in it. I don't know why. You are super late, Christina. Yes. It is tasty. A lot of the hardship recipes are very tasty, so yeah. Tasting history guy, he's really awesome. Earl chat forever. Yeah, you guys actually been pretty well behaved. I'm very proud of you all today. Flesh salad. Fleisch salad. Alright. Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. I hope we had a good time. Thank you all for letting me run my ideas past you. Thank you for letting me know if I was talking over your heads or not. I do appreciate that. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section down below. I want to say put bologna in the comment section, but I don't think they have bologna, so what else have we talked about today? Are you showing up as an intern? You're not showing up as anything, Abby. I mean, you're showing up, but you did get you gold stars all around. Hello, Purbug, we're leaving. Okay, donuts? Can we put donuts in the comment section? Is there a donut emoji? There has to be a donut emoji. There has to be. Ham, chicken. Yeah, no, you guys are right. No donuts, chicken. All chicken. Chicken. We've talked enough about chicken today. I don't know why you're not showing up, Abby. Sorry. I will accept donuts, but let's switch it to chickens for now. And Abby isn't real. Abby is a ghost. All right. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. I'm going to go do dinner now myself because it is now 7 and I need to feed my cats on top of it. So thank you everybody for joining me. I appreciate all my members. I appreciate all of my just regular followers. You guys are awesome too. And don't forget to like the stream and I will see everybody in the next one. Bye.